it's broadcast personality Wesley Outland, and for the second year in a row, the Community Radio Network is excited to also be the voice of iRacing on LSRTV every Monday and Thursday night with the Northwest Racing Series for Cup and Truck. Join yours truly, Justin Prince and Samuel Dyer, every week as they race towards a championship. We're also on the radio in the Triangle in the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area at 87.5 WCRN and anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. Click play, check out the coverage, the power of radio to the imagination of the listener, esports style. We are the Community Radio Network, the voice of iRacing on LSR-TV. Check it out when you can, and replays are always up too. Let me tell you about MPM. McAllister Precision Marketing. They can assist up-and-coming racers with career advancement, promotion, and assist in sponsorship procurement. MPM also has media and professional etiquette training. They work with premier driver development teams and limited late models to late models, and they also help the teams to make it up to the levels of K&N, ARCA, Truck Series, and even NASCAR Xfinity. Contact Tanya McAllister today for McAllister Precision Marketing, 803-361-6199. Today, get on the board with MPM.
CrateInsider.com is your one source for crate racing tech and more. Whether you currently race with a crate engine or you are thinking about getting into the sport, our website has what you need. CrateInsider.com has tech videos, interviews with experts, and the best products in the industry. Dyno tested and proven, so we know they are the best products for crate engines. Visit CrateInsider.com today to get on the fast track to victory lane.
This is Finish Line.
This episode is an exclusive production solely for the private, non-commercial use of our listening audience. Any publication, reproduction, transmission of the accounts without the express written consent or permission is restricted and prohibited. To hear this replay or other previous podcasts, download on iHeartRadio, iTunes Radio, and TuneIn. As always, this show is for you. Thank you for listening.
This is Finish Line. Undisputed, unrealistic, unscripted, and unrehearsed. This is Finish Line, a weekly podcast talking about the positive and negative of motorsports, asking the questions to drivers, promoters, and personalities, getting the information and responses of the sport others dare not to ask or even discuss. This is Finish Line. This radio podcast is from the heart, an in-depth analysis of everything in NASCAR, NHRA, IHRA, IndyCar, grassroots motorsports, asphalt, dirt, drag racing, karting, tractor pulling, boat racing, demolition derbies, and much more. From touring events to national, regional, weekly, and more. This is the podcast where the bull stops here. Whether it's asphalt, dirt, or drag racing, or anything else in life, there is always a finish line. Now, he's a respected veteran broadcaster with over 20-plus years experience calling all forms of sports for public address, TV, and radio. From NASCAR to the grassroots. Please welcome your host, Wesley Outland. This is Finish Line.
Good afternoon, May 11th, 2022. And we welcome you to another exciting 2 hours of the best talk in motorsports, from NASCAR to grassroots. Should be Charles and Wesley. Flip-flop that. No, don't put me. Put Charles and Wesley. Because you got to go from the, the lowercase to the, you know what I mean. C is higher. C is before W, is what I was trying to say, okay? We're having Sesame Street on Finish Line. Welcome to the program. I am Wesley Outland. Charles Wooten in the background. Charles, are you feeling pretty today? You gonna be on camera? You've what? Oh, okay, that's off the air, folks. You're not hearing that. This is just me in my ear. Engineer sound, we do hear you. They just can't. They can't. That was purposely. Welcome to Finish Line.
We do it ever again. Hey, guess what's going on this weekend, Charles? The month of May, brother. Indianapolis. Look at this. They're going to be on the road course this Saturday. What? A green Christmas tree indeed. Anyhow, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the road course race of the Indy Grand Prix is this Saturday at the greatest race course in the world, the greatest Indianapolis Motor Speedway, in preparation for the 106th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. Month of May is here. Probably one of the most exciting months, if you're a race fan, is the month of May. We got a great show for you here coming up in a few minutes. We're going to kick things off with our guest panel. Wesley Outland here with you, Charles Wooten alongside. Charles, how you doing, brother? Been a while since we talked to you. You ready for another fun episode of Finish Line? By the way, I had a major failure on my previous laptop. He's going to fix it for me. And then I had a major update this morning, and I'll just say this. I'm going to go on a soapbox about equipment, and I'm going to shut up and give you our guest lineup. Charles, and that's why I told you my current situation. I am never, ever going to purposely cut off a computer or laptop or cell phone ever again when it's doing a major update. If it's something that I can delay, then so be it. But to purposely, hit the power button and cut it off, never going to do that again.
Wait, so you're telling me the computer that you're sending me to fix, you hit the power button while it was updating?
No.
Okay,
no,
I was about to slap you if you did.
I'm just saying. No, what I'm just saying is that, I thought we were going to be late coming on the air for Finish Line today, and I honestly thought in the back of my head, hit the power button, cut it off. And then I had an epiphany. I'm like, well, I'll just mail the damn laptop to Texas for Charles to fix. I don't want to mess up this one, kind of SOL if this one. Well, wait a minute. There is hope. There is hope. If this one goes out, I do got the backup, but it's like, this one ain't been used. It's not literally dust growing on it, okay? Do you see this, Charles? It just got dust
a fungus on it or something.
It's not a fungus. It's dust. Oh, my God. Yes, you're exactly right. So, with that said, oh, wow, maybe it does got a fungus on it. It's dirty in my pants. Charles, how you feeling, brother?
Pretty good. I had some bacon and eggs and toast, and it's a good morning.
Man, you love your breakfast, don't you? I mean, seriously, holy cow.
I do.
You do? Well, we love our guests on Finish Line, and we got a great show for you. We're going to get somebody in the hot seat immediately so we quit talking about bacon and eggs and sausage and trying to make me hungry, and enough about computer parts. Finish Line, May 11th. We got a great show for you here coming up today. Joining us right out of the gate out of Nashville, Tennessee, winner of the ARCA CRA Pro Late Models or the Jake CRA Pro All-Stars event at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway on Saturday night. Mr. Dylan Fetcho, the young man out of Nashville, joins us on the program. Ronnie Riggs, Batman. Charles, you got to cue up the Batman thing whenever we get Ronnie in the hot seat. He's our second guest. Ronnie Riggs coming up at 1:25 Eastern Time. Coming up at 1:40, we're going to go he's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Coming from Denver, Colorado last night en route on a red-eye airplane. We're going to talk to the young man out of Denver, Colorado for E33 Motorsports Rick Rare Racing. Caleb Johnson will be joining us here on Finish Line to discuss running with the Carolina Pro Late Model Series, getting ready for Dillon Motor Speedway, and racing in general in his career. That's coming up just in hour number one. Hell, I'm getting ahead of myself. Normally, I try to take it all the way to the end of the song, and then we reset it again. So, Mr. Producer, let's loop it. Reset. Hour two coming up. Hour number two of Finish Line. That'll be coming up at 2:05 Eastern Time. Cole Butcher from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada. My buddy in the 53 machine. Tilt load entry. He's going to be joining us. He picked up a win. First big win in Super Late Models for the Pro All-Star Series at the Oxford Plains Speedway. Oxford, Maine, finally race season back again. He picks up the win this past Saturday. We're going to talk with him. Dave Hess out of Waterford, Pennsylvania. Good friend of mine of many, many years. He got a big super late model win at the Erie's Speedway in Erie, Pennsylvania over the weekend on Sunday evening. Dave Hess is joining us on the program in 44. And finally, we're going to talk NHRA. We're going to talk NASCAR. You never know what my good friend, announcing colleague Fabian Brown will have up his sleeve. That is coming up at, of course, 2:35. And I promise you, as fast as this show starts, it'll be over. And by the way, don't forget, if you're a fan of late model stock car racing, to get ready for LSRTV's coverage tonight of the brand new Crown Jewel late model stock E-Series. That's going to be an exciting event. Crown Jewel short tracks across the iRacing simulator. 335 lappers tonight at New Smyrna Speedway. It should be a good one. Of course, you can follow all the coverage at your home for sim racing, LSRTV, iRacing on LSRTV, right here if you're watching on the YouTube feed. Tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. Should be a good one from New Smyrna. We're ready to go in the hot seat. Our first guest, is he here, Charles?
This episode is an exclusive production solely for the private
You know. Well, we'll put our disclaimer out there again. Obviously, this is our show. If you try to use any of our content, we'll sue you. No, we're not going to do that. We're friends with everybody. So, in the hot seat, though, ladies and gentlemen, our first guest on the program is the young man out of Nashville, Tennessee, driver of the car number 89 entry, Dylan Fetcho. Welcome to Finish Line, sir. Great to have you back. It's always great talking to you.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me on here.
Certainly is, man. Hey, look, I think are you in your race shop? I see a backdrop. Obviously, with you on the radio show, you got to paint a picture. I see a backdrop with trophies galore, checks galore mounted up on the wall, and I see that beautiful number 89 race car up on lifts, if you will. I guess you're getting ready for another weekend of racing.
Yeah, actually, this weekend we head to Florida for Pensacola's season opener, so we're definitely looking forward to that, and hopefully it can go like it did last weekend for us.
Now, is that the Blizzard Series season opener at Five Flags Speedway, or is that the Southern Super Series race?
That's the Supers. So we're in the pros, so it's the Alan Turner Series.
Okay. Gotcha. So the road to the Alan Turner Hyundai Snowflake 100 begins this Friday night at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola. And by the way, shout out to Race in America. They'll have coverage of the race on Friday night at Five Flags Speedway, as they always do during the regular season, leading up to the 54th running of the Snowball Derby. In addition to that, Race in America will have coverage from Dylan, and we'll talk about the Carolina Pro Late Models event. That's the broadcast call that I'll be on for Saturday or Sunday, weather permitting. Dylan, y'all fought weather at Nashville on Saturday. It seemed like you might have to push that race to Sunday, but somehow the clouds parted, the skies lifted, sun came out, and y'all had a pretty good show, man. And you got a guitar out of the deal.
Yeah, it didn't look good the whole weekend weather-wise. It was pretty rough. We got limited practice. It was just enough for us, though, and we got the car where we needed it, and ended up qualifying 4th, I think, or something like that, and made it to the lead on lap 30 or so and just never looked back.
Never look back, man, definitely. Listen, what's it been like as a driver like yourself, Dylan, and you go back and forth, and you pretty much ran primarily Nashville, but now we're starting to see you start doing the traveling. Are you excited about the traveling schedule? And obviously you try to pick and choose where to go because of the insane gas prices. I never would have thought this. Last night after doing a baseball broadcast, I passed by 7 gas stations to try to find a way where I could save at least 9 cents instead of paying full price for gas. And that's just as a human being on day-to-day life. That's not counting how high race fuel is today in society.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's getting out of hand, but we're going to try to run all of Pensacola and Nashville, obviously, and hopefully, we've already ran the Rattler and we ran Speedfest, so we're just trying to hit some of the big races out of town because we like to travel. It's a lot of fun.
What is that like, though, going from being a homebody, if you will, and I've always said this on the announcing standpoint as well. It is one thing to be a weekly track announcer. It is another thing when you become a series announcer and you start traveling. It becomes a circus. And I mean that in no disrespect. It's a traveling road show. Basically, you go here, you entertain, you pack up, you go to the next one, you go to that place, you entertain, you pack up, you go to the next one. And it's a grind. And sometimes it's a tiring grind. But you got to have the fortitude and the want to do it, because if you're not somebody that's in the willing of traveling or flying or driving, you might as well just kind of stay at home. What's it been like for you adapting to the traveling schedule, Dylan?
Yeah, it's a lot. Just to get the cars ready and get everything ready for a local show is one thing, and then traveling out of town and racing 2 or 3 times a month, it's a lot. It's a lot for us, and we also take care of Bryson Schaffer's cars here at the shop. So any places he wants to race to, we got to have their stuff ready and everything. So it ends up being a lot of work for us, but it's worth it. It's a lot of fun.
Hey, we're talking with Dylan Feccio. You're watching him on the video monitor as well. Driver of the car number 89 entry. The Ford picked up a big win, of course, on Saturday. Part of the events with the North-South Super Late Model Challenge. Of course, William Byron won that event over Stephen Nassy. This is the JEGS CRA All-Stars Pro Late Model winner of Mr. Dylan Feccio. Dylan, is your intent not only being a Nashville regular for a long time, are you going to run, obviously, the running at Five Flags Speedway for the Snowflake Championship, but in addition to that, are we going to see you at more JEGS CRA All-Stars events this year?
Possibly, maybe. We thought about running some of their schedule, and next year we actually thought about running all of it, but it really just depends on how, if anything gets tore up, or, how the season's going for us, if we get to run more races like that. But we're definitely going to run Nashville and Pensacola and maybe some Montgomery stuff. But I guess if we can get out of all that clean and still have some good finishes, we can try to run some of the more touring series races.
Well, Dylan, real quickly, let's talk about your career, young man. How did you get started racing, obviously, and enjoying what you're doing today, running here at Nashville and all parts in between?
Yeah, I've been doing it my whole life, really. I started when I was 4. We got a quarter midget. I got it from Santa Claus for Christmas, and ever since that day, I kind of been hooked on it, and ran quarter midgets for at least 10 years, and then hopped into the legend cars and still run those sometimes nowadays. And we ran those for 5 years or so, and then I was 14 or 15 when I got into late model for the first time. And so, yeah, it's just been something I've done my whole life.
Well, listen, bring me back here, Charles. And Charles, our producer in Texas and co-host, has got a question for you. It might be racing related. Normally, it's off the cuff, outlandish. For a guy that has a last name Outland, I can't believe I just used that analogy. But listen up for Charles, and we'll see what he has up his sleeve. Charles! I don't know whether to shake my head, question, whatever it is you're going to ask.
It's going to be race-related. I'm just curious, just off the top of your head, without turning around and looking, can you tell us how many trophies you have on that back wall?
Oh, that's a good one. No. You've improved.
Yeah, I really don't know. We got a bunch of them just because, like I said, it's all I've done my whole life. So we try to save all the trophies we ever won. Even if they weren't winning trophies, we got them all here in the shop. So it's all the way around the building.
So am I thinking, Dylan, you got trophies that go all the way from go-karting to beating up somebody racing on a bicycle to, okay, I'm just playing, but go-karts to racing today in your late model car? I mean, that's the kind of trophies you have from first to third, obviously on the podium, and obviously championships or running for season titles as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we definitely kept all of them over the years, and it's good to look back and go look at all the trophies and all the places we raced and all the people we've met, and it's a lot of fun along the way.
So here's a good question. Which one of those trophies hanging on the wall are the most significance of importance to you so far in your career, Dylan?
That's another tough one. I'd probably say The 2020 championship from Nashville Fairgrounds, that was a pretty big one. And then this year we won the Rattler at South Alabama, so that was a really big one too. I like both of those.
And, of course, the Rattler, we had the winner of the Rattler 250 for the Super Late Models on earlier on Finish Line. And, I think we'd already had such a crazy guest lineup here. I think this is actually your first time being on Finish Line, so we thank you for joining us in the hot seat, man. Dylan, what is the plans for the remainder of 2022? Obviously, you've won the Rattler. You're going to Pensacola. You won Nashville. Hey, can you play a tune? Where's that guitar at? Is it around you here in the race shop? Go get your guitar.
Yeah.
Go get your guitar. Go get it. I give you permission to leave the set. Go get the guitar. Go ahead.
No way.
We'll be right here. Don't go nowhere.
My dad used to play guitar. He's good at it, but I definitely don't have it.
I got you. So where's the guitar at? Is it at home? It's in the house right now. Daddy's got it, right? You ain't touching it.
It's behind me right there on the wall. There's a few of them over there.
Okay, I see it. So how many guitars have you won from Nashville already? I mean, seriously.
Believe it or not, that was only my second win at Nashville over the 5 years we've been there. So we haven't won a lot there, but we've been like really consistent. The past 2 or 3 years, we're top 3 in the point series. So we've been very consistent.
Man, that's good. But so listen, have you ever or your dad ever tried to like take one of those winning guitars or play it, or is it just something that means so much? Because hey, listen, that was the signature jewel at Nashville back in the NASCAR day as well. When you won at Nashville, you got one of the Gibson guitars, and I think they've got another person that makes the guitars now because it's no longer Gibson. But that was one of the things that you had the honor that you wanted. Just as much as you want the Tom Dawson Trophy or the Borg Warner Trophy or the Vince Lombardi Trophy if you're in football or Stanley Cup in hockey, if you go to Nashville and you win the All-American 400 or any race at Nashville, you want one of those guitars. That's one of the signature things that they give. And I think it's amazing, Dylan, that at a young age as yourself, you've already collected 2 of them because there's guys that are up in their 60s, 70s that have tried so hard to try to get one of them.
Yeah, it's really cool to have one or two, Nashville, of course, everybody likes the guitar trophies and everybody wants one. So definitely can't take it for granted that we have one and that we have a few of them, that we're doing good there. And I love that it's my home track just because it's only 30 minutes from our house, from the shop. So it's a lot of fun to go there and race and try to compete for wins.
Dylan, I'd be hard-pressed to not ask you this question. Coming up, Ronnie Riggs in a few minutes, second guest here on Finish Line. Are we going to see you start to embellish and try to climb the ladder and go to super late models anytime soon in the future, my friend?
Probably not with our family team, just because of funding. It gets kind of crazy once you get to that level. But there's some things in the works for the Snowball Derby and the 400 this year, so I can't really announce that yet. But hopefully those 2 deals work out and I can get to run those 2 races.
Now, if you do well, and I'm trying to think of this, I know that they do it in super late models for the Snowball Derby, but if you win the Blizzard or the Snowflake regular season for the pro late models, do you get a bid into the Snowflake 100, or is that a race that you've got to fight your way in? And, man, I've been a part of that on the broadcast crew for a couple of years on Racing America, formerly Speed 51 TV. And I've said this. You think qualifying in NASCAR is intense. Snowball Derby qualifying is probably the same or even more. And then qualifying Saturday afternoon for the pro late model version of the Snowflake 100 is also crazy because, honestly, Dylan, and I've talked to you before, you got to lock into the top 30, like right then and there. And if you don't make the top 30, you go right on the racetrack immediately, and you go into one of those damn crazy hooligan 25, 30-lap races, and that's when you start seeing cars get tore all to hell, and you got to survive that, and you want to make it through qualifying. So, what's the pressure like, Dylan, as I'm trying to say is the question is of trying to adapt to the Snowball Derby, the Snowflake 100, and man, it's got to be an intense, it's got to be stressful for sure, but you got to keep focused. Am I right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Nowadays, the qualifying is it's like one of the most important things you can do. You have to start up front to end up finishing there, normally. So, yeah, normally, like you said, the snowflake. I think last year, if you weren't like within 3/10 of the pole, then you're probably not in the race. So it's definitely it's super tight, and the competition nowadays is insane.
Well, listen, Dylan, I told you this would fly by quickly, man. Ronnie Riggs is in the hot seat behind you. He's coming in next. Congratulations on your win at Nashville. Before I do let you go, sir, thank your sponsors on that number 89 Ford. Congratulations. Have fun at Pensacola, and we'll see you again some other time on Finish Line.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We got U.S. Tank on the hood, Hunter Industrial, the fan company is on the quarters. Big thanks to both of them. Haley's Vet here in Lebanon, where we live. The Jewelers in Lebanon. There's so many people, even the individuals that help us, like McGonigal, the engine builder, and Warshocks. Just so many great people that help us do this, and I can't be more thankful.
Dylan, thanks for taking the time to join us on Finish Line for radio and audio. Be safe out there on the road. Safe travels. And again, we thank you for being on this afternoon.
Cool. Thank y'all. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. From Nashville, Tennessee, Dylan Fetcho to somewhere in North Carolina, we go down to Batman. You got the Batman theme? Somehow, some way? Cue it up. Well, okay, it's close enough. Yeah, we don't want to get copyright, obviously. We don't want the folks from, what is it, Marvel? Is Marvel Batman? I digress. Is it? Welcome back to Finish Line. And we have now in the hot seat our second guest. He is also the driver of the number 44 late model Challenger, you name it. And they call him Batman, Ronnie Riggs. Ronnie, do me a favor. Take your phone real quick and turn it like this. We'll make you a little bit bigger, brother.
That better?
Will it work? No, I guess it won't work. I guess you've got a setting there where it go back to horizontal, verticals. Yeah, it's not going to work, man. It's fine, no problem. It's normally a setting on the phone. Usually, if you go from this angle and make it big, it makes your screen bigger. It makes the screen on the screen also on the broadcast bigger. But it's all right. Ronnie, we can hear you. Thanks for joining us today, sir.
Yeah, good to have you. Good to be here, buddy. I appreciate it.
Certainly very welcome. Hey, by the way, I just got notification from Dave Hess Charles, and he is unfortunately in a very important business meeting with his job, and he is not going to be able to make it on the time scheduled. He could probably back up to someone else's time, but we're not going to do that to him. So all I'll just say is, Dave Hess, congratulations on your win, ironically, in car number 44 in Waterford, Pennsylvania, winner at Erie Speedway. So Dave Hess will not be on Finish Line today. So me and Charles will have a crazy segment to always cut up with each other. Ronnie, it's good to have you. We've known each other a long time, from dirt to pavement. Tell everybody a little bit about your career, how the nickname Batman came about. I'm digging that race car you got this year. And I know you've had it a couple of years, but it just looks so damn cool this year.
I appreciate that. Well, I've always been self-made racer, you would say. I started out in U-Car in 1989, and pretty much raced down my own hip for the longest time. And but we decided to go big car racing last year for the very first time. Started off in the Challenger, Charger, whatever you want to say there. We're actually going to make our first late model start at Caraway this Saturday, weather permitting. But I'm a small town boy. I'm from Virginia. I'm from a little town called Parisburg, Virginia, just outside of Christiansburg and Blacksburg. And growed up loving racing and cows. That's about all I've ever known.
Racing and cows. I love that. Racing and cows. And Charles loves milk, so he's your friend already. Hey, the nickname Batman, where did that come from, Ronnie?
Well, I grew up liking, the old Batman and Robin cartoons all my life, and just the guys around the shop, just my friends that work with me on the race team, which is just a bunch of guys that, we're just buddies, nothing special. We're just guys that hang out and like to race. But they started calling me Batman Riggs. So I said, well, I'm going to take the name on it, and I'm going to do something for the kids this year, and I'm going to put it on the race car and just give the kids something to look at, and it's really been good because every race that car's been on the track, it's really got the kids' attention. They're lined up around the fence, giving me thumbs up, and that means a lot to me to do something for the kids, and that's the main reason why we've done it.
Now, I got to be hard pressed to ask this question. Obviously, when you were young, were you into running around with the bath towel behind you, the back of your neck, and climbing, jumping, running, jumping, climbing trees, yelling "I'm Batman," and trying to save the girl?
I still do that.
I love that.
I love
I love it.
Yeah, I'm a huge Batman fan. I've seen every movie ever made about Batman, every cartoon, you name it, I've seen it.
Okay, so I got to put you on the spot here, Ronnie. What is your favorite Batman movie?
So far, the new one, the new movie out is The Dawn of Revenge. That's been the best one so far in my almost 50 years of my life.
Okay, Dawn of the Revenge. Well, I'll tell you what my favorite one was, and I always will think this: the original Batman. I'm a realist. I mean, I like remakes. It's hard to do remakes. I know they've done it a time or two, but in my opinion, man, I'm a fan of the original Batman. I thought that Michael Keaton was the awesomest Batman as an actor, and I look at obviously Jack Nicholson. Don't get me wrong, not taking anything away from Heath Ledger as Joker, and of course Joaquin Phoenix did a phenomenal job when he came back to returning to acting in that failed rapper career that he tried to have, and did an awesome job as Joker in the Joker movie, which portrayed what made Joker and the gang become what it was. But hands down, Jack Nicholson. I took off my makeup. Let's see if you can take off yours. That grin on the screen. I thought he was the classic one right there.
Yes, that was very good. I'm gonna put you on the spot now, Wesley. Okay, which year is my Batmobile, my late model, themed after?
Your Batmobile? What year model is it based off of?
The scheme on my car.
Is it the Batman Returns? The Batman Returns scheme?
No, actually, it's one of the originals. It's the 1967 Batmobile scheme.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, hell, I wasn't even born back then. I don't. You can bring me back beside him. That was what Adam. That was the Adam West days. Am I right?
Correct.
See, hey, at least I do know. At least I know the guy's name. So he was in. Yeah. So what kind of what made the decision to do that Batmobile car, that wrap job, and would you possibly change it up for next year and years to come, racing Challenger late models?
We were, like I said, this is basically, last year was my rookie year in the big cars, and the plan has always been to race late model, and but it's been a challenge this year with everything that's went on with the pandemic and everything like that. It's been a challenge for a small team like us to stay afloat and even think about racing late model. But God has been good to us, and we're still thinking about racing late model. So,
right.
But yes, to answer your question, it's been a big hit with the kids, and I'm really liking that. So yes, we would think about just changing schemes throughout the different seasons, and just maybe staying with Batman and just keep the kids. You keep their attention, they're going to stay at the racetrack. They're always going to want to be there. That's the way I see it.
So there's several times people see me on finish line looking down and not responding. I don't have a whole bunch of crew behind the scenes that are working on putting the packages of social posters at the same time while I'm hosting. So I'm doing both at the same time. That is the picture, though, of the race car for Ronnie Riggs right there. There's the Batman, number 44, of course. So I just wanted to show that to you. Obviously, when you're driving down the road, you ever get that the Batman? Do you get that? Do you get that in your head going on there? Ready for the green flag, obviously. Come on, Ronnie, give me one.
Yes. Yes, I actually got a CD that plays that theme. So,
Charles, you got anything for the Motorsports Batman, Ronnie Riggs on Finish Line? Listen up, my producer. He's in Texas, Ronnie.
My only question is, diehard Batman fan, but if you root for the hero, you got to have a favorite villain that he goes against. So who's your favorite villain that in a movie or even a series as a kid? What was your favorite villain that he faced?
Poison Ivy. She was hot.
Yeah, Poison Ivy was, but it would have to be the Joker. The Joker is just that's to be my favorite villain.
Which Joker, though? Which Joker would you choose? I told you mine, Ronnie. Which one would you choose, by the way?
That's a hard decision. I like them all, to be honest with you. All the guys that played Joker's done really well. But I like the older ones from back in the 60s and 70s.
Okay. All right. Well, in my opinion, the Riddler, the best Riddler was Jim Carrey. Absolutely, for sure. So, hey, Ronnie, let's go back to racing, man. You've raced on the dirt. You ran at 311. You have actually tried to put on a promoter hat. You tried to promote races in the past. That's how long me and you go back. You actually wanted me to announce one of your races. I think it was back in the early 2000s, and then go figure, friggin' Mother Nature screwed it up. But we've known each other for that long. What made the change from being a lover of dirt racing? And I know you love dirt racing just as much as I do. I'll do a dirt broadcast next week for Flow Racing. But, being diversified, if you will, going diversal, going to dirt, going to pavement, what made the decision to build a Challenger late model car for pavement racing and getting out of the dirt scene?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't, it's a long story, but I'm going to try to shorten it up here. I raced U-Cars from 1989 until last year. And I built and raced Hondas only all those years. And a gentleman by the name of Don Bledsoe, he would come out to the shop every day and ask me, he said, would you ever consider moving up? And I said, yeah, but I can't really afford it. So he said, well, just think about it. And I didn't really know what he was thinking, but one day a car come for sale, a guy named Chad Williams, I think he races out at Wake County now, but he had an old car sitting there under the pine trees, about 2 inches thick, pine sap on it. He had for sale real cheap. Don said, well, if you'll drive it and learn how to work on it, he said, I'll go buy it. And that's how we got started, the big car. And it's just kind of progressed from there. I've picked up some help from Screen Mobile of the Triad. And I now got McCollum's Hardware and Grocery. It's come aboard and help. It's just growed. And when my wife got sick with cancer, I actually thought I was done. And God has really helped me stay afloat. But on the dirt question, it don't matter. Racing's racing to me. I just love racing. Asphalt, dirt, it don't matter to me, Wes. I just love racing. If you're going to see me at a racetrack somewhere if the sun's shining, I promise that.
If the rain's falling too, you're there too. I gotta say that it doesn't. Until they pull the plug, you're also there. You're one of the diehards for sure.
Yes, sir.
And by the way, this upcoming Saturday night, weather permitting, as Ronnie said earlier on the air, and I don't know if anybody realized this. And Ronnie, I didn't find this out till yesterday doing a baseball radio broadcast, and I was in my production meeting working on notes, and the guy was telling me, he's like, Wesley, man, did you know about the nor'easter that's in the Atlantic? And I'm like, I stay pretty damn busy. I really don't have a time to really check the weather, like I should. I really don't start looking at the weather until like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, leading up to the weekend. For the most part, college, high school athletics, they're going to do anything they can to play. They'll play if the rain's falling as long as there's no lightning. So, that's their mindset. But obviously, rain on racetracks is a different scenario. But there is a nor'eastern that is off the coast of the Atlantic Ocean in North Carolina, and that is what is causing such a massive cold front in the middle of May, and the wind and the rain. And poor Charles is sweating his ass off. It's 102 degrees in Texas. So, Charles, we're normally used to and Ronnie, this is abnormal weather. We're used to close to 90 degrees this time of the year. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Really crazy.
Certainly. Well, Ronnie, hey, a few more questions with you. We've got Caleb Johnson, I believe, in the back, ready to come on here. We could probably ad-lib some of the time now because we've lost Dave Hess, and that gives us about another 20 minutes gained, unless we let Charles just have a free-for-all. He'll talk about food, iRacing, you name it. We'll talk about it. Maybe we'll talk about that new Crown Jewel late model stock series. Ronnie, are you a fan of iRacing, man? Do you ever get on the iRacing simulator? I know you got kids.
Yeah, well, I like watching it, but I'm not real tech. I guess you would call it tech savvy or whatever. I'm kind of old school. Give me wrenches and bolts, and I'm good. But I enjoy watching iRacing. I really do.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? It's like what Charles just said. Neither is Wesley, and it's the honest truth. I've told people this for the last 3 years since I came back during the pandemic, announcing iRacing broadcasts. I don't have iRacing. I don't have an iRacing simulator. I don't have an iRig or one of the driver rigs. I don't have any of that stuff. All I have do what, Charles? What'd you say? Yeah, the steering wheel. I don't have a steering wheel, the joystick handle. Hell, the last time I ran an iRacing or some kind of race car was R-Factor. I couldn't get the damn car out of Eldor's pit lane, and that was using an arrow key. Okay, so we're right there together, Ronnie. I'll stick to what I'm doing. And as an announcer, you stick to what you're doing as a driver. Final question, man, and I'll let you go. How excited are you to run your first late model race at Caraway Speedway this Saturday, and in a special race, the David Lightning Saunders Memorial? Can you hear me, buddy?
I think we froze.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear
you.
you,
Hear
but
me?
we're having some technical issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did you hear my question is what I was asking? How excited are you to run your first late model race this Saturday at Caraway, and it being the David Lightning Saunders Memorial, somebody that really, really respected and loved in this industry?
Yeah, I'm real excited for 2 reasons. Number one reason, it'll be the first time I've been on new tires ever. But I'm real excited about going to Caraway. Caraway's been good to me. I've run well there every time I've went, from U-Cars to Challenger. And I like the place. I'm really excited about making my first start at Caraway. My first start was supposed to have been in Franklin County, but the weather got us every time we went up there. So it'll be my first start at Caraway in late model.
And he'll be in action driving that Batman Adam West throwback to 1944. And thank you for telling me that, Ronnie. That's a little more insight into my announcer notes. And I will officially, when we log off here, go and work on my stats and put that it's a car from the original Batman for sure. So from the 60s. So Ronnie, thank you. We got to get young man Caleb Johnson on from Denver, Colorado. But before I do let you go, man, thank you for being on Finish Line. First time guest. Thank your sponsors. And of course, good luck this Saturday for sure.
Thank you, Wes, for having me, buddy. I really appreciate it. And God bless you.
All right, there you go. Batman, Ronnie Riggs, ladies and gentlemen, in action this Saturday, David Lightning Saunders Memorial. That race is 100 laps, big late model race. In addition to that, the Grand National Super Series. By the way, they've tried the last 3 times to race. They've got rained out. Go figure. And hopefully their 2022 season lid lifter and debut will be this Saturday as well for Twin 50s at Caraway Speedway. Be there live. If not, watch it always on carawayspeedway.tv. We're going to go down to Denver, Colorado, but actually he's somewhere in Charlotte because the red eye flew last night from Denver, Colorado. He's ready to go. He's in the hot seat of the Sanzio entry, #1 for Rick Ware Racing and E33 Motorsports. Thanks to Junior Courage and Wendy Graham for lining this young man up. Caleb Johnson, welcome to Finish Line, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Have you recovered from jet lag, or is it just you're so used to flying the red eye? There is no jet lag coming back and forth from Colorado.
No, this flight was definitely a hard one. I mean, we left our house at close to 11 p.m. So, I mean, definitely a hard flight.
Gotcha. Well, it looks like you're well rested. By the way, I want to say thanks to your father and your PR rep behind the scenes, Rob Johnson, for helping to set this up. I would say you're kind of a young man, Caleb. How old are you, sir?
14.
14 years old, the future of racing right here. And this young man competes on the Carolina Pro Late Model Series with Rick Ware Racing and, of course, for E33 Motorsports. Caleb, before we go any further, talk about how you got your career started and having the opportunity to drive the #1 car for E33.
I actually started racing in a little car called Quarter Midgets down in Colorado. There's about 4 tracks in Colorado. So, I mean, I actually started driving when I was 5. So, at the local track near our house, there was a car there that we could drive, just test around, just have fun with pretty much. And that's what we did. And I had a blast there and figured out that that's what I want to do with my life.
How did the package go for you from running quarter midgets running quarter midgets to moving into late models? And obviously that's something that it's quickly it's a quick change. Obviously quarter midgets is a totally different thing than a full body late model car, but the decision to run the Carolina Pro Late Model Series, Caleb.
It was definitely, I mean, it was a big choice. We could have run quarter midgets, but I feel like the team that we've created has been really good. I mean, we've won national championships, so I feel like it was time for us to move on. We were running good at every race, and I feel like it was time for us to move on to late models.
And you know what? And you're one of those talents where you're doing really, really well. Obviously, you look at guys like Mason Maggio and Jason Holiday, and they're guys that are on your team. I love the camaraderie. I love how y'all have adapted to each other so fast with Junior Courage and your family. And you're a young driver, but it's like a racing family. You look at guys like yourself, the Floridian Mason Maggio. We had him on Finish Line last week, 2-time winner on the series. Jason Holiday has led some races, and he won the pole at Goodyear on our invert the other week ago. And obviously, you've had a lot of success. The cars are in one piece when you finish racing. And what's it like running with Holiday and Maggio? And you guys are teammates in the pit area, but on the racetrack, I wouldn't call you enemies, but you're going to try to race to win this race as well. There's no give and take, I would assume, right, Caleb?
Definitely. I mean, knowing that we're teammates and racing with Jacek in quarter midgets has gotten us closer, and leaning off of him with like lines and stuff, and asking like Mason, like just having a team surrounding me has been really helpful for development. I mean, definitely. I mean, on the track, still teammates, but everyone wants to win.
Young 14-year-old Caleb Johnson joining us here on Finish Line. If you want to bring us back side by side, Charles in Texas is my producer. Listen, Caleb, he might ask you about what you like for breakfast, Pop-Tarts or oatmeal, or he might ask you a racing question. You never know what you're going to get with my producer in Texas of Charles Wooten. So, Charles, the 14-year-old floor, you got him. This is yours.
I got to think of a question here. I don't even know if I have a question as much as I do just, to be 14, congratulations, and doing what you love to do. I remember at 14, I was probably more concerned with if I was going to eat like a strawberry or grapefruit roll up or something more than I was, making a racing career. So, yeah, I
I
really
told you food somehow be involved in this question.
I really don't have a question. I just want to say congrats on being 14 and moving up. Especially with the this generation. We'll say that that there's not a lot of 10 to 15, 16-year-olds that are that dedicated to the sport of racing right now. So just congrats and keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. A statement from Charles, if you will, instead of a food question. So, hey, I got a question for you. Caleb, is it chicken Alfredo or spaghetti?
I'm actually vegetarian, so can't eat chicken, but I still like spaghetti. I mean, it's not my favorite food, but spaghetti's pretty good.
Well, there you go. You've decided what I'm going to cook for dinner tonight. So it will be spaghetti on Wesley's agenda for dinner tonight. So thank you, Caleb Johnson, for helping me decide what I'll do for dinner. It's something quick as well. So Charles, spaghetti on me. I'll mail it to you from Carolina to Texas, along with my laptop. Why would it be rotten? I'll cook it.
Because you got to mail it to me. It'd be in the mail for 2 days.
Well, they got that airlock bag or something they call it. So ice, the hard ice, if you will. So, hey, Caleb, where do you want to see your career go, buddy? Is your dreams and aspirations to run NASCAR one day, or are you just happy and content with what you're doing in the short track industry, running on the Carolina Pro Series and getting ready for Dillon Motor Speedway? That's a very unique racetrack this Saturday you'll be at. Or, weather permitting, I was told in a meeting yesterday afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. So, I mean, the ideal pathway for my career is to go run NASCAR. I mean, I don't really know anyone who runs racing that doesn't want to go to NASCAR. I feel like running the Carolina Pro Late Model Series is really fun. It's been a great learning experience, but in the end, I want to go to NASCAR.
And obviously, that is the goal for everybody. They want to climb the ladder and move up into the NASCAR world for sure. Young man here, Caleb Johnson, 14 years old on finish line. That'll wrap us up in hour number 1 here in about another 15 minutes. We'll go to break and thank our sponsors. Go to Network ID and get you set for hour number 2 here as Cole Butcher from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada will be coming up at 2:05 Eastern Time. And he texted me this morning. He's like, that's 3:05 my time. So I was like, wow, you're ahead of us on our time zone. So Nova Scotia is an hour, I guess, ahead of Eastern time zone. So, yes, 3:05 for him, 2:05 for us on our program. You're originally from Denver. So is that mountain time? Are you 2 hours? Is it 2-hour delay or is it an hour delay? You're in Central time zone when you're in Colorado, Caleb?
It's mountain time, yeah. So we're 2 hours, yeah.
So technically, if it's 1:52 going on 2 p.m. Eastern, it's only 12 noon over there, correct?
Yep.
Gotcha. So Charles, he's even further away from you. He's Jeff Stabnow time in Idaho, in Billings, Montana, actually. So yes. Yeah, I was saying Idaho, but Billings, Montana is what I meant. Hey, Caleb, on a serious question, what does it mean to have the support that you got from your dad, Rob, and Junior Courage, not only your family, but everybody that's on your racing family, growing with E33 Motorsports and Rick Ware Racing, but having your dad by your side helping you along the way?
It's been really helpful. I mean, having a bunch of support has been helpful coming into races by not only wanting to perform, but knowing that you still have support even if you don't perform. I feel like going with E33 and learning off of teammates and like Rick Ware Racing, it's been really helpful in my development and just learning off of everyone in the team.
What is your favorite racetrack? Obviously, you have had the privilege to run so many racetracks, whether it's quarter midgets, whether it's now on the Carolina Pro Late Model Series or late models in general. Is there a racetrack that stands out as your favorite place?
So far, I think I really liked Hickory. I feel like a bunch of people don't like it because it's like rough and grimy, but I feel like that's short track racing. So that's my favorite track.
Hey, Caleb, something that was unveiled, they're still working on the format. North Wilkesboro Speedway is back. It's part of the racetrack revival. And we talked about it at Goodyear, but there's more stuff being finalized with the series. The Carolina Crate Modified Series and the Carolina Pro Late Model Series will be a part of the August pavement edition of that event at North Wilkesboro Speedway. How excited are you, young man, 14 years old, to have the chance to race at a track that's got so much history in not just NASCAR, but motorsports in general?
It's definitely going to be a privilege running on such a historic track. I feel like it would definitely be some fun and a great learning experience for especially me, but all drivers in the series.
Caleb, I think my producer in Texas has got a question for you. Listen up, especially with you being a young man.
Yeah, but speaking of young, technically only 1 year older than he required me to be on iRacing. That question is, do you have iRacing? And if you don't, we got to find a way to hook him up so he can get on North Wilkesboro and get some practice on there.
Yeah, I actually do have iRacing. Last year we competed on one of the junior late model tours. We actually won a couple of races. I think they were both at Richmond. So that was definitely a fun experience running with other drivers and like in a little bit slower car, but still getting experience on lots of different tracks.
So you obviously know names like Garrett Maines and Parker Retzlaff, and all of the drivers that have now actually climbed the ladder and have moved up into real racing. You look at Parker Retzlaff from Rhinelander, Wisconsin. We've announced, I know during the pandemic, announced many iRacing events, and he got an ARCA ride. And now he's this year been running a couple of Xfinity races. You look at Josh Berry, and you see the success he's got. It started from iRacing. And I was talking to somebody about this on the phone yesterday. As a matter of fact, me and oh my goodness, who was I talking to? I want to say it was Rooster Robert Kitchen. And by the way, there's information on a blood drive for a good announcing colleague and friend of mine, Marty Webb, and I'll go on to that during another commercial break. But what I was going to say was that we were talking about iRacing, and one of the things we were discussing was there's a lot of guys out there that are chasing shattered dreams. But and here's the thing, and I believe this, and this is the honest truth on whether you want to be a successful race car driver or a broadcaster or a carpenter or a doctor or an engineer. You can have the dream. You can have the dream to want to be somebody and go after it. But to go after it means you got to get off your keister and go and drive and push and have that momentum. You can't just sit back and say, I have a dream about being a great race car driver and iRacing is going to help me. No, you got to go out there. You got to prove yourself. You got to go out there and show the world, show your family, your loved ones, and then most of all, yourself inside that you deserve the opportunities. And because dreams are shattered if you just sit back and dream and you don't go after them. And I believe that. And I think that somebody like yourself, Caleb, does. You're 14 years old. Look like you got a good head on your shoulders. You're very respectful. My goodness, just acknowledging you the last couple of times at the racetrack and you calling me, yes, sir. And I'll tell you real funny, don't call me that. Call me Wesley. Call me Buddy, But that shows me that you've got respect. And that shows me the traits of the way you were brought up in your family. And that's a good thing. Because we live in a world today where there's a lot of kids, they have no respect. They feel like everything should be given to them than to earn them. And I take credibility in knowing that that's not the way that I was brought up in life. And it looks like, Caleb, that that's not the way you were brought up in life either. And everything that you are earning and you're receiving in your career, you've worked hard for. And if you want to be in NASCAR, Caleb, or make it into, IndyCar or USAC or whatever it wants to be, you work for it and you're going to achieve it. And obviously, I just want to say that, from the first time I've ever met you as a young man, you're very, very respectful. And I think that that's a great trait that a lot of people are lacking today, especially in this industry.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. Well, but listen, we're going to ask you, Charles, you got anything else? One more question? Oh, I was going to ask you this. Dirt racing. Would you ever do any dirt racing, Caleb, or are you happy with just running pavement?
Racing is racing. If I have to go dirt, then I'll go dirt. I've run a couple of dirt racing on iRacing, but mainly it's just been pavement. If I have to go to dirt, dirt seems like fun. I've known a couple of people from quarter midgets that went to dirt, and it's a blast. So, it depends.
So listen, what's been some of the help or preparation to get you ready for Dillon Motor Speedway this weekend? Obviously, running the Carolina Pro Late Model Series, you're running racetracks, especially as a young man from Denver, Colorado, that you've never raced at before. So how do you try to prepare, adapt? Do you obviously it's a Wednesday, so I'm assuming you flew in early because you're heading down to Dillon to try to test, to get some seat time, to try to figure the track out. And obviously it's a different world when you're on the track by yourself practicing, when you get everybody else out there on Saturday or Sunday, isn't it, buddy?
Yeah, for the tracks that we haven't gone to, we try to fly out a day early and just get with the team and just kind of work ourselves into the line and the speed, and just trying to get used to the track. And also it's been helpful to watch previous videos of races at Dillon and late models. It's just been pretty much helpful for both of them.
Well, listen, we've enjoyed having you on, young man. Great job. Thanks to your dad, Rob, in the background helping you out and setting up this interview. Before I do let you go, it's time to thank your sponsors, as always, whether in Victory Lane or here on Finish Line. Take care. Safe travels. Glad you had a safe flight into Charlotte from Denver, and I will see you on Saturday.
Thank you. Thanks, Santio Vehicle Protection. Thanks, Page Construction, E33 Motorsports, Junior Courage, everyone on the team. Just thank you.
Rob, come on in here. Your cover's busted. Come on over here. Come on in. You got caught. Come on in. If you want,
I'm here.
Before I let you go, man, I wanted to say you probably heard any and everything that I said. You got a great young man right there, and that's something that a lot of America is lacking with the way these young kids are. So definitely, I got to say props for the way you've raised him, and good luck with him and his racing endeavors for sure, Rob.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us on. It's a family effort for sure, and thanks for the opportunity. And we look forward to getting this race in this weekend.
All right, now get you some sleep, because I know what it's like to have jet lag, okay? See you guys on Saturday. There you go. That's Rob Johnson. That's his father. That's Caleb Johnson. And remember, the E33 Motorsports Rick Ware Racing #1 and the rest of the Carolina Pro Late Models and Carolina Crate Modifieds will be in action this Saturday or Sunday afternoon, weather permitting, at the Dillon Motor Speedway for round number 5 of the season. I'll be on the broadcast call. If you can't be there live, you can watch it on Racing America. We're coming up on the top of the hour. We'll pause and take a break. Hour 2 of Finish Line when we return next.
Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outland, and for the second year in a row, the Community Radio Network is excited to also be the voice of iRacing on LSRTV every Monday and Thursday night with the Northwest Racing Series for Cup and Truck. Join yours truly, Justin Prince and Samuel Dyer, every week as they race towards a championship. We're also on the radio in the Triangle, in the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area at 87.5 WCRN, and anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. Click play. Check out the coverage, the power of radio to the imagination of the listener, esports style. We are the Community Radio Network, the voice of iRacing on LSRTV. Check it out when you can, and replays are always up too. Let me tell you about MPM. McAllister Precision Marketing. They can assist up-and-coming racers with career advancement, promotion, and assist in sponsorship procurement. MPM also has media and professional etiquette training. They work with premier driver development teams and limited late models to late models. And they also help the teams to make it up to the levels of K&N, ARCA, Truck Series, and even NASCAR Xfinity. Contact Tanya McAllister today at McAllister Precision Marketing, 803-361-6199. Today, get on the board with MPM.
CrateInsider.com is your one source for crate racing tech and more. Whether you currently race with a crate engine or you are thinking about getting into the sport, our website has what you need. CrateInsider.com has tech videos, interviews with experts, and the best products in the industry. Dyno tested and proven, so we know they are the best products for crate engines. Visit CrateInsider.com today to get on the fast track to victory lane.
This is Finish Line.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Finish Line. I'm Wesley Outland, your host, Charles Wooten in Texas. Thanks also to Justin Pevlock, working our production on the Fox Sports Radio side of things in the Carolinas. And by the way, I talked to somebody about this on Monday. I would like to start getting the networks, and not only the networks, but also the radio stations and their FM transmitters, and actually mentioning their network ID for radio stations. And we want to start doing that here probably within the next month as we move into June and more. And something we also talked about is Finish Line looking to go on the road. We're working on production possibly at Caraway Speedway during the Smart Modified Tour event that is on a Wednesday night, but possibly even just going to the radio stations in the area and try to figure out a way to do Finish Line besides in our office studio at home in Clayton, North Carolina, Charles Wooten in Texas. And somewhere in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada, is the driver of the number 53 tilt load entry, Cole Butcher. Cole, always great seeing you, my friend. Normally it's at the racetrack. Today it's on Finish Line. Charles, I just thought about this. So far, all of the guests we've had are first-time guests. They've never been repeat people. Welcome back to Finish Line. Fabian Brown will be on. But Cole Butcher, welcome, sir. It's good to see you. I know you're in your office at Tilt Load. Pretty cool to have your sponsor as a sponsor of your race car for a place you work for as well.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for having me.
What a drive. Saturday, I watched the highlights on Racing America. That 53 car seemed like it was in the wind up in Maine at Oxford Speedway. That's got to give you a lot of momentum going into the Oxford 250, which will be here in about 4 months from now.
No, you're right. Between all the motor changes, and that's only getting about 4 or 5 laps of practice, it was pretty good right off the trailer. So the boys at the shop, they worked their butts off. And the boys at the racetrack, they were able to change motors in 3 hours and 25 minutes. So that was pretty good to see. If we need to do it, I guess everybody will know who to call. So hopefully we don't have to do it again. But if we need to, I know I got the guys to do it.
Don't call Batman. Don't call Ghostbusters. Cole Butcher. Didn't mean no offense on that, Ronnie Riggs, by the way. His nickname is Batman. Cole, it's one thing to blow an engine at a racetrack. It's devastating to blow 2 engines in one day and immediately back to back. How did you guys adapt from that, redeem yourselves, and get the right engine in the car this time? Make sure everything was right to put that car to victory lane right out of the trailer, because like you said, you had less than 5 laps to shake the car down. I mean, that's
Yep.
there had to be a roller coaster of emotion Saturday at Oxford.
Yeah, we didn't really know what the right motor was. So long story short, the motor we unloaded with had a head leaking on the right side of the motor, so we didn't want to take a chance. So we swapped motors, put the spare motor in that was supposed to be a fairly good motor. It blew up 4 laps into the practice. Put the other motor back in, went to Napa and got some radiator sealer, and we pretty well just hoped for the best. We drew a 30 for the heat race, and that put us pole in the 3rd heat. So a little bit of luck went our way, I think, that weekend. Plus, we had a really good car. Come race time, I started 3rd. A couple cautions. We made our way up to 2nd, then the 1st, and then we were just driving around. Johnny got by us, and we just kind of let him do his thing, and we just maintained our gaps front to rear. And with about 50 to go, I kind of said it's time to go. We got by Johnny Clark, and we kind of checked out. So hopefully we might go back next month. We might go back in July. We have a new Taylor car we're trying to get built for the Oxford 250. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's just Oxford's it's a hard place to get to, and it's a hard place to be repetitive around. It's just the temperatures, the tires, just it's unbelievable the amount of things that can change at that racetrack. But we like to support Pass and Tom Mayberry, so we'll definitely be back for the 250.
What is the weather conditions like up in obviously Oxford, Maine? Me and Ronnie Riggs were talking about this in hour number one of our first guests on the program. We're having some crazy weather in North Carolina. I mean, normally we're settling in for, 85, 90 plus degree days in mid-May, and here it is, 74 degrees today. There's a nor'easter off the Carolina coast. What was the weather like running in Oxford, Maine? And obviously, take into consideration, you're more further north up in the United States, close to the Canada border, where you're from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. That's got to be also taken into consideration with the temperatures. But was it a cold day? Was it a day of wearing sweaters and jackets, or was it a comfortable day up in Maine?
It was a nice day. We started out, it was about 50 degrees, I think. We had our winter jackets on and our toques on, but a little windy. Getting later in the day, it was probably about 60, 70, I think. I could be wrong, but it turned out to be a nice day. I think the wind was a little bit strong, but it's kind of all over the place. Here in Nova Scotia, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, we're supposed to hit double digits this week, so that's 20 degrees our temperature, so I think it's 70-ish your temperature. So the weather's changing every single year, so it's hard to keep track of, and it's hard to know what to expect when you arrive anywhere these days.
You can bring me back beside him here. Cole Butcher joining us here on Finish Line. Of course, the Pro All-Stars winner. Cole, is your intent, you mentioned Tom Mayberry and your love of the series, is your intent to try to run for the national championship this year up in the Northeast and up in Canada, in those parts? And obviously, I know we'll see a Snowball Derby, Winchester, All-American, Crown Jewel, Oxford. Obviously, I think you've already got your sights on the radar. The Crown Jewel events, is your plans to run them, or with the fuel prices, with COVID, tires, apocalypse continuing, does that make you scale back a little bit this year, Cole?
I mean, a normal person would scale back, but I've had to sit on my butt the last 2 years. So I got 8 races with Johnny this year, 7 races around here, and about 4 or 5 races with Pass. So I'm just going all out. Well, all out to me.
I mean, and I've said this before, you literally, because you're up in Canada, and I tell people, American people, we're pretty damn lucky, okay? Because Canadians, they literally have been more restricted and reserved on what they can and can't do. You can't cross the border. You can't cross into the U.S. So it's good to see that you guys are somehow coming to some type of normalcy again up in Canada as well. But with that being said, you're hungry. You want to get back out on that racetrack. You want to race again. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think we're going to see that 53 a lot of places this year for sure. And obviously in December at the Snowball Derby.
No, for sure. I think our next race is at Tri-County with Donnie down south. And then we go to our season opener here with the Maritime Pro Stock Tours May 21st. So we look forward to supporting our locals, but we also look forward to getting down south and racing with the big boys.
So listen up. My producer in Texas, Charles Wooten, is in the background. He's got a question for you, and we'll find out what it is here on Finish Line.
Oh man, I wasn't prepared yet. We're going back to the tried and true tested one. We had someone from Canada on just not last week, I think. So we're gonna go back to the age old question. About the rumors. All we hear is literally crap here in the U.S. Probably none of it's true, about maple syrup and all that. Is it really that big a deal in Canada as everyone makes it out to be? We've heard from one that it really isn't that, maple syrup and, Canadian bacon really aren't as big a deal as, that we're led to believe down here. Is it not? How's it go?
I don't know. I just buy it in a bottle and eat it. But sometimes whenever I go down to like see Tyler, Tanner, and Donnie, I'll bring down a bottle of maple syrup and I let them tell the tale. So I don't know. You're probably better off to ask one of those guys because it just tastes all the same to me. But when I like, what's it called? Red Vines. I went down to help Tyler, Tanner in California a month or so ago, and they had red vines. I never had them before, and I thought they were great. So it's just everything's different. Some foods are different here. Some foods are different there.
Yeah, I was going to say that there's definitely a difference in the foods of the places that you eat at. One of the things I pride on is barbecue. And I love traveling all across the country and trying the different barbecue. And the way that you get barbecue in North Carolina is not the way you get it in Western North Carolina or the way you get it in Tennessee or the way you get it down in Florida or up in New York or Chicago or Indiana, Wisconsin. So yes, I'm a connoisseur of the way that barbecue is different as well. A matter of fact, speaking of barbecue, how was the barbecue made in Canada?
That's pretty good. I don't know. It just depends on your chef, I guess. Sometimes you get good steaks, sometimes you get bad steaks. So my favorite steak's the one at McGuire's in Pensacola, Florida. You can't beat that place.
That's right. Yeah, you mentioned Florida, the barbecue for sure. Very, very good. Hey, Cole Butcher joining us here on Finish Line, and we could spend a little more time with him than what we had planned on because Dave Hess was actually scheduled to be next. Driver out of Waterford, Pennsylvania, picked up the win, of course, at the Erie Speedway in Erie, Pennsylvania, and unfortunately, he's not able to make it. Now, I don't want to hold you up from work because obviously, Cole, you are working, so definitely, but hopefully we can spend a few more minutes with you. What is the plans this year, man? The opportunity to drive the 53 car, but drive other different for racing teams. There's so much history behind that car. Obviously, you think of the 53, you think of Donnie Williams out of Oklahoma. You think of you driving for him. You think of the opportunities that he's given you, and you still continue to successfully propel and run. I think of I think of Nashville. I think of the All-American 400 a couple of years ago, where you had such a great car, and then the engine blew, and then you have to redeem yourselves. Obviously, the highs and lows of the sport. What is that like for the team, but also as the driver in the cockpit? Because you can't help it. If the engine blows, that's something you have no control over. If somebody runs indoors and rubs you and hits you, then you can return the favor or back away. But mechanical woes in this sport, it's got to be treacherous in this time of the year, especially with the way the industry is now. Would you say, Cole?
Yeah, I would say so, especially right now with parts being delayed and being rushed. So you don't really know what to expect, but you just kind of put your faith in the Wilson guys whenever we're running down there, and then whenever we're racing up here, it's my duty to make sure nothing goes wrong. But Jeremy Upchurch built a strong super late model motor, and that's who we rely on. And last year we bought a motor from a guy, and it just needed some TLC. So didn't make it through the All-American 400, but it definitely made it to the Snowball Derby, and we're still using it to date. So, I'd like to finish the All-American 400 one of these days, and we'll see what happens. But, it's just things that you can't control. It's just part of the sport.
Slinger Nationals, Wisconsin, that's a big race. We're going to see you up there for any of those races, or are you kind of staying up in the Northeast before the big crown jewels?
It was on my schedule, but I think it conflicts with something around here. So I got Tri-County, Berlin, Redbud, Oktoberfest, Oxford 250, obviously. A couple crown jewels up here. IWK 250, Cat 250. And then we have the Derby and the All-American 400, if I didn't already say so. So, we have a number of crown jewel events, and there's a number of them up here that I need to check on my bucket list, and there's a number of them down there that we need to get done too, not just for myself, but for Wilson Motorsports. So I just like to win with those guys here one of these days. We got our first American win the other day, so hopefully we just carry on.
Hey, you didn't mention Winchester. In Winchester,
yeah,
Indiana, are you going to Winchester 400?
I don't think the place it does. I don't know. It doesn't interest me.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's a pretty high bank, crazy racetrack.
It is. I don't know. It just I don't know. Call me a baby, but it just seems fast for these type of race cars. But I don't know. Maybe one of
Really?
these days we'll go there. But I think I'll stick to working that day.
Do you think, though, Cole, that's maybe what over the years has hurt the car count because these cars are getting so fast and that track is
Yeah.
already fast enough and you're worried about getting hurt or worse? I mean, you think that's what's made that race lose its luster the last couple of years, you think?
Well, I have nothing bad to say about the event. I know Dylan just taken it over the last couple of years and he does a great job. But I think it's between that, being around a bunch of big events that type of the year. It's towards the end of the year, people are getting more out. There's tons of variables, but I don't know. Back in the day, I think it used to get a lot of cars, but I don't know. Everything's so expensive these days, and you almost have to replace everything on your race car after that race, from what I hear from my guys. So that might be part of it. But Donnie loves the place, Chandler loves the place, Sammy loves the place. So I'll just let those guys go at it, and I'll watch it on TV.
I got a question. We mentioned the Winchester 400, and these are my words, not yours. I don't want to say that you're the ones that said it. Has lost that excitement level. It's not as big as it used to be. If there was another race across America that could be taken into that place as a crown jewel, what race do you think it could be?
I don't know. I'd like if they brought Lanier back, or like Gresham, or even North Wilkesboro's coming back. I think that one of those tracks would probably bring an enormous amount of cars right now. Only in the super late model division, not pro late models. But even if we brought like Irwindale or Kern this way to replace it, I think you'd get a really big car count.
We're talking with the driver of Cole Butcher. A few more minutes with him, and we'll let him go here as he is at work. Before I go any further, hey, show your swag there, Cole. What is Atlantic Tilt Load? It's on your race car. People might not know what it means. What is Atlantic Tilt Load?
It's a family-owned company. My father has my father's brother actually started it back when I was born. Then he passed away, and my father took it over. So we're just a heavy equipment company. We haul everything except for cars and dry vans pretty well. We go all over Canada and North America. So if you ever need anything hauled, give us a shout. But my family works hard to be able to do what we do, and I just can't thank them enough.
So basically, Charles, if you ever need to haul like a home or like a big convoy trailer or something, just reach out to Cole Butcher and he'll haul it all the way from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Charles is speechless. He doesn't know what to think. Atlantic Tilt Load, by the way. Atlantic Tilt Load on the 53 machine. Hey, you mentioned Donnie Wilson, man. What does it mean to drive for Donnie Wilson? And let's be honest, everybody that's been in that car or been in the race cars win. You look, of course, at yourself. You look at Chandler Smith. You look at the past at Casey Roderick or other past winners. Every time they put Carson Hocevar in the car, he's done well. What does it mean to drive for a team like Donnie Wilson Motorsports out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma?
It's pretty great. I've known Donnie, I don't know how long now. I was his first driver back in 2015, I think. Wesley Weeder got my father hooked up with him, said, "You need to try this guy." He said, "He'll treat you great." And he's treated us great since day one. Now Starwin bonds us. And, it's a team that's really hard to beat right now. Between them, Dennis, Tyler, Joe, Mike, Jerry, they're on their A game right now. And no matter how many race cars we bring to the racetrack, we're either 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like, coming this Derby this year, we're going to have a pile of race cars at the racetrack, and one of them's going to win the race.
Is there a time on the racetrack where, let's say you've got 3 cars battling for the Snowball Derby, and we kind of, teammates, does that go out the window? White flag, every man for himself. When Dan Spence waves the white flag, you gotta do what you gotta do to win the race, or is there a little give and take because you guys are all teammates there and maybe enjoy that moment to have 1, 2, 3 finish for Donnie Wilson Motorsports in the Snowball Derby?
I'd say if you're third and you're trying to get to second, I probably wouldn't push the issue. Second to first, probably a different story. But I don't know. It depends on who it is. If it was Sammy, I'd definitely rough Sammy up. We and him are pretty good buddies, and he's easy to push around. So I don't know. It just depends on the circumstances. 1, 2, 3 is pretty cool. So you got to look at the big picture in the end, but you also got to be looking out for yourself too.
Gotcha. Well, listen, Charles, you got anything else for Cole Butcher before we let him go? He's got nothing. Well, listen, before I do let you go, you can follow Cole Butcher at Butcher Racing on Facebook. And, of course, also on Twitter at Cole Butcher 1 on Twitter as well. So, Cole, we'll let you get back to work at Atlantic Tilt Load. Before I do, my friend, thank your sponsors on car number 53. Thank you for being on Finish Line. Congratulations. Hey, by the way, the engines, are they trashed, or can you get them fixed and try to get them back?
We have one getting fixed right now. The one that blew holes out of the oil pan, that's questionable right now. So we'll keep you posted on that one.
There you go. Well, of course, thank you for joining us. Before I do let you go, thank your sponsors, Cole. Appreciate you being on Finish Line this afternoon.
Perfect. Thank you for having us. I'd just like to thank PFC Brakes, Atlantic Tilt Load, Top Construction, Hanging on Fisheries, Irving Blending and Packaging, Shoreline Lubricants for Refuel, just my guys in general for the hard work they've done this past year, and hopefully we keep racking up the checkers.
There you go. Cole Butcher, ladies and gentlemen, a man from Canada. Of course, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Check him out in the 53 machine. And, of course, if you want to see highlights of his big win at Oxford Plains Speedway over the weekend with the Pro All-Star Series, Racing America has the coverage. Cole, thank you, buddy. Get back to work.
Thank you. See you later.
Yes, sir. Cole Butcher, ladies and gentlemen. Charles, hey, man, Atlantic Tilt Load, they'll carry it in everything anywhere for you.
That's good because there's a 72-ounce steak down in mid Texas that I kind of want at the Big Texan. So maybe they'll haul that to my house for me.
A 72-ounce steak.
Yeah, it's a big old steak. If you eat the whole thing, a baked potato and I think coleslaw and some other stuff within like an hour, it's free. If not, it's like $120 bill.
Are you excited? Are you happy?
Well,
72-ounce steak?
It sounds good. I've never actually, I've been down there, but never had the challenge. But, hey, if they'll deliver it to me on their trucks, I'll eat it.
Well, we got a few minutes to kill before we actually get our final guest on from NHRA and NASCAR Conversations with Fabian Brown. And Charles, man, what's your take of I don't want to go off subject here, but it's kind of racing. It's racing, horse racing. How about the Kentucky Derby this past Saturday, the 148th running of the Kentucky Derby, and an 80-1 underdog, Rich Strike, coming from way in the back of the pack to win the race. It was phenomenal. Did you see it? Horse racing.
I knew it was on Peacock, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. I saw it on TV. It said, watch this on Peacock, the Kentucky Derby, like the millionth version of it or something like that.
They do a lot of promoting.
I know I did some research and I forgot what it was, but them horses are expensive. It is ridiculous what they pay for this horse so that they can run it around a track one time.
He was a 80-1 underdog long shot. Nobody even, seriously, nobody even gave this horse a chance. This horse went all the way from like 15th, 16th position, in horse racing, and he just plows to the front. And I'm even looking at it, and I'm watching it. I watched it. Me and my grandmother did. We watched it because I got washed out for racing over the weekend, so I got to hang out with them for Mother's Day. By the way, I hope everybody had a great Mother's Day with their family and loved ones.
I was sick.
And their mothers especially. And all the while, I guess when you're an announcer, Charles, or a broadcaster, and I've said this to you before as well, we see things we hear things that other people don't even pay attention to. And we do that. I do that. I'm guilty of it. I'll admit it. I'm my own worst critic. So I'm listening to the guy call the race, and I'm like, okay, all right. Well, dude, here comes Rich Strike. I don't know what the hell his name is because you're not saying nothing, but oh my God, here comes this horse and he's coming up through the pack and he's moved around and he's got in the top 5 and here he comes to the inside. And it's just like he didn't even recognize, Charles, that Rich Strike won the race or he even came out of anywhere until he saw him run down to the inside and finally clear past the top 2. And then it's like, holy cow, where did Rich Strike come from? This guy just won the Kentucky Derby. And if you're watching the video from the overhead, you're literally seeing this horse be in the back of the pack. I think somebody, Charles, used it as the equivalent of when Dale Earnhardt went from 18th to 1st to win in one lap the race at Talladega when he won his final career win, his 76th career win in October of 2000 at Talladega. He was 18th and he went to the lead and he won the race.
Isn't that kind of like that a couple of years ago or 10, 12, whatever it was with that Sea Turtle or whatever horse it was? Didn't he do the same thing?
You talking about the Secretariat?
I don't know. There was some horse, wasn't it, like Sea Turtle, or was that a movie? I don't know. Sea Turtle, Sea Biscuit, something like that.
Sea Biscuit, maybe Sea Biscuit. there was a horse called the Secretariat. I know there was a horse called Sea Biscuit. I think it was Sea Biscuit. So, yeah. But look, I just want to show you. Look at this. Look. Oh, what the hell? We got a segment here. We're gonna get Fabian Brown on here in a little bit. So wait a minute. So you're looking here.
I'm looking at my screen.
Yeah. Sorry. We're watching this here. Look at this. And you're watching all these horses come around the final run of the corner here. He's right there in the mid pack, like he's like 7th, 8th right there. And obviously, you know, they're all bunched up tighter than the lid on the pickle jar with one another. And here he comes.
If one of them crashes?
I guess there'll be a bad horse crash. That's all I can think of. And look at this. Here it comes on the inside. Rich Strike right at the horn. Look at that. Right at the horn. Right at the tower. And he won. He came out of nowhere.
But my question is, do we get to interview the horse? Can we get the horse on the show?
Could you imagine what it would be like if we had Rich Strike on the show? Like,
I want to get let's get the horse on the show.
For sure. Fabian Brown, where are you? He's joining us here in a few minutes. We're going to talk some NHRA drag racing and, of course, more on Finish Line. Charles, does it amaze you how soon we get on the air, how fast it flies by? Like, we literally have a 2-hour window, and we go live, and we prep, and we prepare, and the next thing you know, we get all these great guests on and great content, and it's over. It's over. And
I don't know about the preparing part. I didn't do much preparing, but
I hate you. Hey, Indianapolis, ta-da-da, in the background, the greatest racing capital of the world. And Charles, speaking of Indianapolis, tell everybody about the Major Series presented by Major's Garage, and we've got the virtual greatest American sportsman spectacle in racing, or at least that's what I'm calling it as lead announcer this Sunday night, the Major Series iRacing on LSRTV.
It's going to be a good one. I've got it pulled up somewhere. I was just looking at it, actually, as I'm getting some overlays ready for it. But, yes, it's the 10th annual. So they've been doing it for a long time. Obviously, we get to be a part of it this year. I know it looks like they're targeting 33 cars, so it should be a good field. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I like open wheel racing. You know, I like it a little better on some road courses like F1, stuff like that. I know Sam does too. But I think it should be fun. It's going to be some really fast cars on a really fast track.
Oh, Charles, why you been holding out on me?
I don't know what you're talking about.
So the rumor has it Producer Charles Wooten has a new haircut. Let's see it. So I'm telling you right now, if you love me, you like working with me, iRacing and beyond, got to cut on your camera because we're filling in some dead time. Fabian Brown, we can wait another 10 minutes.
Well, first off, let's go here.
I want to see your new haircut.
It's just a trim.
Haircut,
it's nothing new. It's just trimmed
well,
up.
Let's see it.
First off, I don't know where my camera is, to be honest. I really don't know where I put it. Second of all, I'm gonna come after Jeff when this is all done. Because the only person that knows I got a haircut was Jeff. So I'm coming after Jeff when this is all over. Because I know he's watching right now at work.
It's in the chat box. It says, rumor has it producer Charles has a haircut. Let's see it. So let me see your hair.
Where's this what group chat is this? Because it's not in no group chat I'm in.
It's in the YouTube chat. It's nationwide for everybody to see.
Oh, Jeff's really coming after me.
Yeah, he's coming after you, brother. So let's see your hair. I want to see it. Come
on.
No,
we already told you. I haven't had a shower this morning because I'm going somewhere after. You ain't seeing me on camera.
It doesn't matter. Okay, fine, whatever. He feels ugly.
Now let's address this owner of this channel here who's gonna get jinxed. I'm gonna personally pay someone to wreck him Thursday night on the racetrack. I'm coming for you, Jeff. I will get on the track myself on one of my 4 accounts.
Oh my God, you're gonna make me swallow and choke on my Pepsi.
This is your call out, Jeff. I know you're watching the podcast. I'm coming for you.
Oh my goodness!
I'm getting a text message.
Jeff Stabnow has had a string of bad luck here this year, so don't jinx him any more than what it already is, Charles. Don't do that. Don't do that to the poor guy. So he just wanted to brag about your haircut. Hey, listen, I need to get a new haircut. Look at this. I mean, my look. You can ask Charles every time before we go live on the air. I'll sit here at the chair. They'll primp and make me look good. They'll put up the backdrop, which, by the way, that's all behind the scenes. You see this, right? Okay. If it wasn't for this little curtain right here, I'm unveiling myself. If it wasn't for this stuff right here, it wouldn't have any of this stuff looking good. Okay. So that's why it looks like it looks like. I'm not in Indianapolis. I'm not in the backdrop. By the way, we got to get a squirrel moment. Squirrel ball. We got to get Mark James, the radio voice of the Indianapolis 500, on in a couple of weeks on Finish Line. We have to preview the Indy 500. We always do that every year.
You know my favorite part about being on mic and talking is when I get to mute my mic because we have our next guest.
Oh, well, let's do it. Let's bring him in, our final guest of the program here on Finish Line. Charles, you're damn lucky. That's all I'm going to say. You're damn lucky because I was going to have you somehow, some way, turn that camera off. Hey, final segment, you're coming on camera, you're going to show us your hair. Even if you don't show your face because you said you stink, show your hair. Show your hair. That's all I want to see is that hair. Ladies and gentlemen, our Fabian Brown in the house. Fabian, I see you. Move your head. What the hell? Not your hat. Your hand. Move your hand is what I meant. Your hand. It is Fabian, how long have you been watching this craziness in the background, just laughing your ass off? Welcome back to Finish Line.
Just long enough to know that I got the best hair on the program today, or lack thereof. So, but
hey, good so listen, ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the program is Fabian Brown from Maryland, longtime announcer of drag racing. He done NHRA a couple of weeks ago, of course, at ZMAX Dragway, the 4-wide Nationals, and getting ready for. He does a whole bunch of events, IHRA, XR. I mean, the big shootout events, the race at no limit shootouts and others at Waycross in Florida, Texas. He's been to Texas, Charles. So he's been all over. Fabian, what's up with the balloons behind you, man? Did you celebrate a birthday the other day?
About a month ago, I celebrated my the 15th anniversary of my 21st birthday. And the balloons, even though they're a month old, they're still floating around in my living room. So.
Hey, Fabian. Hey, Fabian, listen to me very carefully, okay? Me and you got to have some fun. You've had them. You've had them long enough. It's time to poke a hole in the balloon and suck on the helium and make some funny voices for us here on Finish Line. Like, seriously.
Well, the thing is, my mother's birthday was 2 weeks after mine, so we're still keeping around for her for hers because it's like a month-long celebration. So yeah, can't do that for mom though. But
somebody cue up the damn Price is Right loser horn. That's bad. Hey, Fabian, walking around the house here on Finish Line. Hey, NHRA, what a season this year. It's been exciting. We're seeing records broken all season. Look at John Force, man. That man don't need to think about retiring. What a phenomenal job at ZMAX a few weeks ago.
Oh, definitely, for sure. Him qualifying, I believe, number one for the 164th time in his career, and he he celebrated a birthday a couple of days later. So, I mean, the man is he's just as good as he was 23 years ago. But and then how everybody calls Tom Brady the GOAT or whatever, but he's not. We're not gonna go there. That's enough for another show. But John, he's I mean, he's a real humble guy. Just because he's thankful he gets to be a part of what he thinks is the greatest sport, on the planet, and just how humble he is, with his daughter, with Brittany winning back-to-back races this year, his son-in-law Robert Height doing well, and then of course his other driver Austin Prock coming back in the top fuel. It's really, I mean, John Force Racing has really had a really good season so far this year.
Hey, I agree with you. I don't think Tom Brady's the greatest of all time in football either. Since you opened the door, I'm going to kick it in. Who do you think is the greatest football player of all time in football?
Oh boy, man, that is a tough one because it depends. I mean, so many different eras of football. I gotta go. Oh boy, I don't know. I mean, I guess I gotta go with. I couldn't even tell you, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you mine. I'll tell you mine. I'll tell you mine, and I'll stick with it to this day. Walter Payton was the greatest football player, athlete of all time, in my opinion.
I'll give you that one. Definitely, he was definitely one of the greats, and I would say Barry Sanders, greatest running back, never played
for the most suckiest team in America.
Oh no! Actually, that'd be the Dallas Cowboys. But that's another story for another day.
Oh, wow!
I had to get the first punch in. So.
Hey, I take that back. They have at least one. Hey, don't make Skip Bayless mad. They've won a couple of Super Bowls, okay? They've won a couple of Super Bowls.
Yeah. That's true. Tell you. Yeah, let's get Skip Bayless inside of a cup card and run him around Talladega at 190 miles an hour in the draft. So.
NHRA's been very, very fun, man. Obviously, we talked about, Robert Height and Force, his daughter, Pedregon doing really, really well in the booth with Brian Loams. And you had the privilege to work with Alan Reinhardt and Jose Castillo, some people that I've had the privilege to know for a few years and work with, not really ever worked with, but at least interact with. Man, you've worked hard. You're the drag racing straight line, go fast announcer, dude. And I tell you that, and you've really worked in this opportunity. Now, you're not working Virginia Motorsports Park, just up the road, Dinwiddie, Virginia. I guess like less than 100 miles from my house. That is going to be the big race. You found out yesterday? Now, is that because of weather, logistics, scheduling? What was that? And I feel bad for you because I knew you were sad.
Yeah, the weather. I mean, the weather forecast. The one thing that everybody knows that we can't control in racing is definitely the weather. And but I'm definitely thankful to the NHRA. They've been amazing they're amazing to work with. And they said, okay, we're not sure what's going to happen with Virginia. I mean, everything is still planned. But what they did do is they instead of Virginia, I'm not going to go to Brainerd, Minnesota. In August, which is home of, they call it the Zoo.
Wow, you won on that deal.
And what that is it's like they have fans that design like like all kinds of like float. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. And then of course I have Maple Grove in Pennsylvania later on this year. And actually, I'm actually going to go back to Charlotte Motor Speedway in 2 weeks for the Coke 600. You know, my girlfriend Kelly, she's going to go to her first NASCAR race, and I'm really excited to that. It's
And your
you know,
first 600 was last year.
my first
Because
600
we
was
talked,
last
you were in
year.
my neck of the woods in Charlotte. Yeah.
Oh, it was. I mean, it's definitely a lot of fun. Like with Greg Walter and the Smith, Marcus Smith and everybody at Charlotte Motor Speedway. What they do is it's amazing. The whole pre-race show, and then the appreciation of the military they do with that, and it's just an amazing weekend. And I'm really excited to go back this year, and like I said, being there for the at ZMAX for the 4 wide. That was awesome. 4 side by side, 4 top field dragsters, 4 nitro funny cars was absolutely amazing, and I hope I get to go back next year. But I'm really excited. But before we go any further, congratulations to Kyle and Samantha Bush on the
Yes.
birth of their second child. Definitely congratulations to them. But so actually, some folks have been asking me about this, the whole William Byron, Joey Logano thing at Darlington.
Yeah.
I don't think William Byron ran him up the racetrack. I don't think he did. Now, Joey, did he put the bump and run on William Byron? He did, but at the same time, I mean, I know William Byron's frustrated, but Joey has to understand that William Byron is going to be coming for him. And is William Byron going to put him in the wall next chance he gets? I mean, who knows? But Byron said, I'm already in the playoffs. He's got nothing to lose by going for it. I just hope Joey understands that he's got a big target on his back from the 24 car.
You can bring me back. I've been trying to tell you on the signals inside me. What are you doing? Oh, he's yelling at Jeff. He's yelling at Jeff in the background. I want to see your hair, Charles, by the way. Okay, we're not when it's live, people. Okay, we're trying to bring me back side by side. Do this. Come on, I'm ready. Me and Charles have signals. And obviously, he's a little demented right now, angry at Jeff, if you will. Fabian.
Yes,
Brown
sir.
joining us here on Finish Line. IHRA, NHRA announcer, of course, all the big, pro mod and Top Gun shootouts and everything, grudge fest matches and everything. He does it. He's just like me, except it's for straight line, go fast. And he does like NASCAR and short track racing as well, and he goes to them when he can. Fabian, I've always wanted to ask this question. How do you prep and prepare? Because obviously every announcer has their own certain way of doing things. Like I've become a fan recently of Google Docs and putting everything on Google Docs. By the way, Adam Mackey, longtime announcer, colleague, and friend, finally sold me on that idea about 3 years ago in the Snowball Derby when I was working pit road and then in the booth with him. And that's kind of what said, hey, man, this is awesome. This is smart. This is the way to go. And obviously, it's the new wave of technology. In straight line drag racing, do you prep and prepare like we do for circle, round, or dirt track pavement? Or is there different preparations for drag racing to have the information that you need to do the job?
Well, I mean, I prep the same way. A lot of times, like for example, with NHRA, I go in and look, okay, who won the most recent race? Who was number one qualifier? How did they do last year at this race? And it really all depends on what kind of event it is. I mean, sometimes sometimes you do go in blind, but a lot of times you know, okay, you know who's going to be there. You research the racetrack, the track records, maybe the series records, and you lot into that. And then maybe a week or so before, even the night before, I may be sitting in the hotel just taking down notes, and maybe not on a computer, just on a scratch piece of paper on a notepad, just write it down and that sort of thing. So I kind of prep the same way that maybe you guys do when for the circle track stuff, especially for the guys on pit road. I mean, I do it the same way. And there are times when I'm looking something up, like in Maryland. I have my laptop sitting right there with me. I'll have to look something up, and like, okay, then I'm reading off my laptop. But some stuff I do from memory. And sometimes you may have no idea what you're looking at, but at the same time, you got to make it sound like you know what you're talking about. I mean, kind of maybe not kind of sell it to the fans and that sort of thing. But like I said, I prep the same way you guys do. Sometimes it may start like a week or two before. Sometimes maybe even 6 months prior. It just really, I really prep the same way you guys do.
Yeah. And bottom line, and I tell people this, whether you're doing a race broadcast for drag racing, pavement, dirt, whether it's a football game, a basketball game, a softball game, a baseball game, and you got to think, Fabian, I cover like all of those things across the board. Even for an iRacing broadcast. By the way, segue into that, Crown Jewel, late model stocky series tonight, New Smyrna, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, LSR, iRacing on LSRTV. And the segue into that is if you don't prep and prepare, you're bound to make mistakes. And people are going to call you out on it. You cannot just, and I tell people this, Fabian, you can give me your segment on that, your elaboration, if you will. You cannot just climb a tower, pick up a microphone, and say, hi, I'm an announcer, and I'm going to call this and do a great job. You got to do your homework. You got to prep. You got to prepare. Everybody's human. We all make mistakes. But if you take it upon yourself to not prepare to be ready for a big test, you're bound to fail.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. And also one of the other things I do is, with drag racing, I do have a, working relationship where I'm literally right next door to race control, unlike, with, you guys, and sometimes you may be half a hallway down from race control. I'm literally right there. Yeah, I'm right there next to race control. And then there are times when I got to maybe have a good relationship with the officials on the racetrack. So I know when they make a call, I know, okay, he made this call for this reason, so I can explain that to the fans. And but yeah, you're right. You definitely can't just, not to say it hasn't been done, but the more prepared you are, the better. I think the better broadcast show you're going to have. But then you're gonna make mistakes. Like I made one in Charlotte where Krista Baldwin, one of the up and coming drivers in Top Fuel. I thought she had qualified. Because the way the crew reacted. But then I hear and I'm starting to interview her crew chief. Oh, this is live on NHRA.TV. It wasn't live on Fox Sports. Well, this is live on NHRA.TV and the PA. I thought she had qualified. Then I hear the crew chief tell me they didn't, so I had to change it real quick. And I'm thinking to myself, oh man, I just messed that up. But then they're telling me in my ear after that, good recovery and that sort of thing. So it's one of those, you're gonna make mistakes, but it's really how do you rebound from it and how do you say, okay, I screwed up. It's bound to happen because Mike Joy said this a long time ago. He said, you're never gonna have a perfect race. It's just never gonna happen, but you just have that I guess that you keep striving for, that makes you work harder and that sort of thing. Because you may think, okay, I'm gonna get it, but you may not. You may not. But you just gotta go with it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And again, whether it's doing sports or straight line, go fast for drag racing or NASCAR, it all goes hand in hand. Hey, I know we're talking NHRA, but you're a lover of NASCAR. We're wrapping it up here with Fabian Brown on the May 11th edition of Finish Line of course, Charles in Texas. Listen up for him. He's got a question. What you got?
I gotta think of a question. Let's see here. I don't know. If you had to choose one type of racing, drag racing, NASCAR, or dirt racing, I don't know if I can pick, so I'm gonna let you pick.
Oh man. Well, drag racing. My dad, he got me into when I was 4 years old, and we also watched NASCAR. And the dirt race, I got a chance at Delaware National Speedway over there in Delmar, Delaware. I got the chance working the flag stand one night. So there is no possible way I could pick between NASCAR, drag racing, dirt track. I just couldn't do it. But actually, I do have a question for both you guys. I'm gonna turn the tables on you. What would you think if
This is our
NASCAR?
show. How dare you?
Hey, see, you gotta be prepared for the audibles. But something I've been thinking
Go
about:
ahead.
what if NASCAR did this as far as stage racing? Whoever leads the most laps gets maybe 3 stage points or maybe a playoff point, or where whoever leads the most laps in a stage, whoever leads the most laps in the race maybe gets another 5 stage points or what have you to kind of maybe mix up. Because remember back in the old days, you had a lap, you got 5 points. Now you could lead if it's 400 lap race, you could lead 396 laps and almost have nothing to show for you if you don't win the stage. So what if they added points for leading the most laps in the stage or leading the most laps in a race?
You know, I would be suffice to say that if you get a playoff point at the end of the stage for the stage winner, maybe that's in your favor instead of just getting 10 points, 10 down to 1 for the top 10. But I think you don't want to do more than that. You don't want to do 5 points. You don't want to do 3 points, because I think at the end of the day, you want to try to make the point standings be in flux as close as you can. And I think that's what NASCAR tries to do. But listen, bottom line in motorsports, whether it is drag racing, NASCAR, IndyCar, any type of sport out there, World of Outlaws, Lucas Oil, I'll say it as well, Fabian, I think you'll agree with me. These drivers are under tremendous pressure.
Oh, absolutely.
I actually was listening on the way to do a baseball game yesterday, and Dave Moody kind of talked a little bit about this on Sirius XM Speedway. And I'll elaborate on that and add more to what he said. We live in a world today where these young drivers between the ages of 18 to 22 to 25 at the latest, if they're not winning and they're not doing well, Fabian, and they're not in a good quality ride, they're thinking their career is over. And these drivers that are in these high-quality rides with these race teams, if they're not winning and you're not being consistent, you're going to get your walking papers pretty quickly, and your career is going to be short-lived. So I see this sport as it is so intense, and I don't know if that's what took the fun out of the sport, because these drivers become so aggressive. Like, for instance, I don't want to mix waves here. William Byron did the bump and run and the move over to Stephen Nasty in Nashville on Saturday night to win the North-South Super Late Model Challenge. It was on Race in America. I don't believe in karma, Da-Ching. What goes around comes around. But with that being said, though, Fabian, he pushed up Stephen Nasty to win a $10,000 Super Late Model race. Well, Joey Logano pushed William Byron out of the way to win the Goodyear 400 NASCAR Cup race. People can call it rough driving. People can call it, he shouldn't have done that. He should have gave him some room. I think some people question the last restart of the race after the big one. They said, hey, maybe he could have gave way, and, maybe Logano couldn't, maybe Byron shouldn't have raced Logano the way he did. I think the word brake checking was coming to mind. I watched the race, and I reviewed the video, and then I went back and watched it again, Fabian. In my opinion, racing's racing. And I will say this. I don't want people to think that I'm condoning wrecking somebody, because I'm not. But what happened there was he pushed him out of the way. And anybody that knows Darlington, Fabian, knows that you've got to run the top side of the racetrack at Darlington anyway. So that's something that's already a given. So he's already up on the top shelf. Byron is. Logano dug it down deep down there on the inside into 3, and they made contact. And what happened happened.
I mean, I
don't think
definitely
anybody's
agree. No, I definitely agree with you. But also, you got to think back to Texas. I can't remember what year it was. It was when Ron Hornaday was still running the trucks and everything. Caution had come out, and Kyle Busch had flat just wrecked Ron Hornaday. This is after
Oh
caution.
yeah, that's uncalled for.
That's over the line.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're bumping somebody out of the way, I mean, you're going for it take the Bristol Dirt Race with Tyler Reddick. I mean, he knew it was coming. I mean, it's the last lap of a cup race. I mean, they're not wrecking each other. I mean, they're going for the win. And if a driver's not going for the win, what are they doing in the race car to begin with?
What the hell are you doing out there?
None are out there to run fifth, 10th. I mean, they're out there to win. If you're not out there to win, what are you doing in the race car?
That's right. Charles, what's your take on that? And you could say that it's in real racing or even iRacing, because we've seen scenarios in iRacing broadcast, dirt and pavement, where sometimes you might rough somebody up and you did it intentionally, and sometimes that's just racing.
Well, I got to go all the way back to his original question. You got so far off topic, I think we're in the next county by now. We got to go back to this whole points issue. We still use that. If you lead a lap, you get bonus points in iRacing. Like, that's still a thing we do in a lot of the leagues. So I'm all in favor of it. You know, I don't like personally, I don't like the stages. I don't like the playoffs. You know, there's a lot of these. If you went and did the points how they used to be when it was Winston Cup versus the points how it is now, some of these drivers wouldn't even have won championships because somebody
the sport of NASCAR back then is not the sport of NASCAR that we have today.
Nor football, now it's all about money and buying cars.
Nor hockey, nor baseball. What?
Now it's all about, you know, who has the most money. You know, I liked it back better in the day when it was about the drivers. You know, like when Dale Earnhardt Sr. flipped his car or rolled it or whatever, and basically told his crew, will it crank? Yes, it's got 4 tires. Let's go race it. That was racing to me. You know, I just wish, you know, some of the stuff would go away. I don't like the playoffs. I never have. Because, you know, there's a driver that may totally just blow his season in the first half, but he's still somewhat in contention and can come back and win it in the second half. But with playoffs, he's completely eliminated. I like the mix-up where he can try to, you know, have a rebound in the end and come back and win the thing. But, you know, so I'm all for, you know, points if you lead a lap. Give them 5 points if you lead a lap, and, you know, let them be in contention if, you know, say you lead 400 or the 500 laps and, you know, some bonehead driver comes and wrecks you, you know, with 10 to go.
Fabian, I'll let you rebuttal that, okay? I'm not going to say nothing this time since I'm already in the other county. He just took it to another state line, okay? Like, seriously.
I could see that, but then you also got, you do have a good point where, you know, you definitely want the, the points to kind of how they finish in the race. I mean, there's no way. NASCAR is going to get us where everybody's happy. And by the way, the racing we're referring to was the '97 Daytona 500.
That's right. Before he won the 598.
Yeah, that he did. And when all this started was when Matt Kenseth, congrats in the Hall of Fame, won one race in 2003 and led the points like 33, 34 to 36 weeks. Only won one race, won the championship, but he was consistent all season long. So that's kind of where it started to begin with. And then, but take it, Tony Stewart, 2011, went winless in the first 26 races, and won 5 of the 10 playoff races. And then I believe that was the year he and I believe it was Carl Edwards finished tied.
Him and Carl Edwards got into it. Yep.
Yeah, and then Tony won it on the tiebreaker. So like I said, there's no way they're gonna make the points where everybody's happy. Now over in NHRA, you get points for if you have the quickest run in the qualifying set, you get 3 points. Second quickest run gets 2. Third quickest run gets 1. Now on qualifier gets points, and then you get 20 points a round for every round you win. Now the U.S. Nationals, I believe the final race of the year, they do like point and a half system. But I mean, there's just no perfect point system out there. But I will say this though, that I mean, NASCAR they're trying. I will give them that. And I'm interested to see what races they could go to for next year. Like the Coliseum, I thought was a great idea. Possibly maybe a street race for the Cup Series. I mean, I don't know if I would go to the Cup Series as a street race first time. Maybe go trucks or Xfinity to test it first to see where, how it would go. But I mean, are we getting too many road courses? Maybe. Do we need to go back to short tracks? Yes. But then there was one question also that was bothering me for a while was when Bubba Wallace won Talladega last October. The race was official. I mean, he was having me in the lead, and a lot of folks are saying that Talladega needs lights. Talladega needs lights. They do not, because one, Talladega doesn't get used every single week. Say like maybe as much as Daytona or Homestead, Miami, or Bristol. I mean, plus it would be super expensive for them to do it. Would they even get the return investment on it? Probably not. But I think I'm off in the next counter even state now, but it's
No,
but, I mean,
you're right. You may tell you what the biggest problem is if it's not lights. It's the start time.
Yeah.
It's the start time. For instance, Dover, same thing. And I talked with somebody about this the other week ago at the Dover race that, of course, Chase Elliott won. If they would have started at 12:30, 1 o'clock, like they used to do, they probably would have got the race in or half the scheduled distance. But when you start at 3:30, drop the green flag at 4, and the reason why, let's be honest, hello, I work with them in the radio side, but I know that's what it is for. It is because you're trying to appease the audience across the country. You go live at 4 p.m. Eastern, you go live at 1 o'clock instead of going live at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. It's all about trying to work in the time zone. And the TVs and the networks, and they got their hands in the cookie jar. And that's the problem. If that race would have started at 12 noon, 11 a.m. Central Time for Talladega time, I've been there before. There's an hour time change. Then I think that race would have got in. But because you run so late to race, it hurts them. So, no, I agree with you, Fabian. Talladega doesn't need lights. I think there's some tracks that you just don't need lights for. Now, I will tell you, and I know that there's been a lot of discussion about it, they're talking about lighting up Dover. I know they're talking about lighting up Dover Motor Speedway.
I would love to see that because it's like, I think Dover would be good with lights. This might be a stretch, but if the Cup Series ever went back there, North Wilkesboro, I think the short tracks.
Hey, Wilkesboro's opening back up. What's your take of that?
Definitely. I love it. Because going back to the roots. NASCAR. It started on short tracks. North Wilkesboro was one of those tracks that should still be in the Cup Series today. Rockingham, I think, should still be on the Cup schedule today, and we need to go to more short tracks because that is why I understand you want to expand, you want to take the sport to more market, but you don't want to get away from what got you there in the first place, and that was short track racing. Now, I will say that one track that put lights up. When they did it at Daytona. At first I thought they were nuts, but then that was back. I think that was back 20 some years ago. Now Daytona. There were times when the 500's been finished under the lights, and then remember when they first put lights at Charles Miller Speedway? Everybody thought Bruton was nuts, and look at it now.
Yeah.
But but it's a tricky lighting up. It's a tricky situation because you got to think about it ain't cheap. The run the lights. Even at Charles Miller Speedway, which when I was there for the 600 last year when they stopped the race at lap 200, literally imagine that entire oval silent. All you heard was the buzzing of the lights. And I mean, when they stop at lap 200 for the minute of silence, which great idea. But I mean, I would love to see lights at North Wilkesboro. I would love to see lights at Dover. I would just love to see that NASCAR going back to more short tracks. And as far as the Bristol dirt race, maybe I would like to see maybe go 300.
It's got exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, maybe go I mean, I get 250 laps on a concrete oval is different than 250 laps on a dirt oval. I mean, it's different. But I mean, definitely NASCAR.
Fabian, and my thing is this, and Charles, you can jump in here if you want to as well, because I know you're a lover of dirt racing. NASCAR needs to get away from Bristol. They need to put, if they want to run a dirt track, run a true dirt track.
Eldora,
do Knoxville, do Charlotte, do Vegas, do Texas, do I-55, do Farmer City, do Virginia Motor Speedway, where I'm going to next week. There are beautiful crown jewel dirt tracks that you can have races at. But here's the kicker, and this is the problem, Fabian. It's all about asses in the seats. And the reason why they would rather choose to go back to Bristol is because you can fit 150, 70,000 fans there. Charles, your take on that? You agree with me or disagree, bud?
I agree. They're all about the money. They want the people in the seats. Quite frankly, if I was an actual dirt track, I don't know if I'd want NASCAR at my track. Those fences at a dirt track, they're not meant for holding a NASCAR if they wreck. If when the NASCAR gets in the air, that's going to be a disaster.
He's talking about safety. I got you. I see what you're saying. I thought you were dissing NASCAR, but you're actually speaking on the interest of safety, and I get that. I do.
I agree.
For sure.
I definitely agree with what you say.
Hey, Fabian, let's go back on track of drag racing, and we'll close things out, bud. Big race this weekend. Virginia Motorsports Park, Dinwiddie, Virginia. I think, what is it, couple of years? It's been away because of the COVID and the pandemic, but I know they brought it back a year, but it's been a long time, as a matter of fact. It's close to a decade since NHRA has been to Virginia Motorsports Park. So that's really cool to see them in the Commonwealth again.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, they were there. The first national event there was actually in 95. And then they were there for a little bit. Then they switched thanks to IHRA. Then they went back to NHRA. And then they came back on the schedule in 2018 when Englishtown went away. And then Tyler Crossnow, Judy Tommy Franklin, the owners of the racetrack, stepped up to NHRA. Hey, we got a quarter-mile track. Let's come back here. So they came back in 2018. Then they were in 2019. Then 2020, 2021, the pandemic. But I'll tell you what, Virginia Motorsports Park is an amazing facility just south of Richmond. And actually, I will still be there next week. The XDA, the Extreme Drag Bike Association, I'm going to announce we'll be there next week for one of our second race of the year. But like I said, Virginia is, it's a smooth racetrack. And then Tyler Crossnow, who also runs the PDRA, he does a great job there. His staff there, they do amazing things. And hopefully the weather holds out this weekend where they can get the race in. And then obviously I'll be there next week. But real looking forward to seeing them. I'll be watching, a little bit with the NHRA and that sort of thing. Because like I said, that's, it's what I do. Plus that's part of my prep work going into, even though it's not for another 3 months, going into Brainerd, in August. But I definitely am glad NHRA is in Virginia. It's a great racetrack, a great area. And believe it or not, a little stat for you guys, of the 8 drivers, Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock, which is not there this weekend, but Pro Stock Motorcycle, 2 of the drivers that were in the first final 27 years ago are still racing. 2 of them. Steve Johnson in Pro Stock Motorcycle, and of course, John Force. Still racing 27 years later. They're still there.
Got a few more questions and we'll get off the air here. Charles, I got a question for you. Are you a fan of drag racing, buddy?
Yes and no. It's a kind of a loaded question. I love being there when I've been at the track a few times at our local one, I did some pictures while I was there. Love sitting in the middle of the right in front of the tree, getting good shots of them doing burnouts and stuff. TV watching it, I'd rather be there. It's just it's awesome. The feel of being there is different than watching it on TV.
That is true. That is definitely true.
I would say the same thing. But I would also say, Fabian and Charles, that's in any sport. I tell people this. I cannot tell you how many people that I've met and short tracks, dirt, pavement, on the road, travel centers, gas stations, and they say, that NASCAR, I hate that NASCAR. Or man, I was going to go to Southern National, or I was going to go to Orange County, but, I don't really care for NASCAR. But then when they finally go, and they see that it's not NASCAR, it's short track racing, it's something different, kind of like Bowman Gray Stadium, for an example, for the Madhouse. You're kind of like, wow, I like this. This is not like what we see on television. Get out of the mind that racing in general, motorsports in general, is NASCAR and what you see on television. Same thing of going to a football game. Same thing of going to a baseball game or a basketball game. Me and my girlfriend Jackie were talking about this, as a matter of fact, yesterday after we finished the baseball game and went to dinner. And we were kind of hunting on, the way we do the radio broadcast, or the way you do video, or the way you listen to a game, the way you going in person. Listening on the radio to an Atlanta Braves game is different than being in person. Watching on television on Bally Sports South with Chip Carey and his crew is totally different than the way you would see it in person or the way you listen to it on the radio. The same thing can be said with racing. That's one of the biggest things I'll say in closing here. We got to wrap it up. Fabian, I'm a fan of radio style calling because radio is the imagination. You got to paint a picture. You've got to make that person realize and translate what is going on. You can see it on television, and that's why the commentary, to me, no disrespect to anybody, I think it's boring. But the reason why it's boring is they can't go descriptive in what's happening because the audience is watching it. You have to, and I say this word in no disrespect, dummy talk to people. When you're doing radio and sometimes public address, because obviously what do? They pipe in MRN, PRN on your radio at the racetrack on the PA. You are painting a picture, and it sounds so much more exciting. And the same thing can be said about drag racing. The way that Alan Reinhardt or yourself, Fabian, and Jose Costello called drag racing to the way Bob Fry did it back in the day. No disrespect to Bob Fry. He's a legend, the same way that the original announcer done it. They have their style. But when you're being descriptive, I feel like that's better than just saying, there's a car in this lane, there's a car in that lane. All right, fans, we're ready. Hoopla, ready, make some noise. Bam. Straight in, top in, who won, who got the win light. You're telling a story. And it doesn't matter whether it's sports, stick and ball sports, drag racing, dirt, or pavement for NASCAR. Fabian, you're telling a story.
Absolutely, definitely, for sure. And like with drag racing, I kind of have to do both. Yeah, the fans can see it, but the casual fan may not. Okay, like what's going on? Like with Super Comp, Super Gas, Super Street, they have the throttle stuff. I have to explain what that does. So you kind of have to do both on the PA at a drag race, and every announcer is different. Like Bob Fry did it his way, Dave McClellan did it his way, Alan does it his way. And I do, I definitely do it my way. So therefore, but we're telling a story, but at the same time, we have to, we're doing both. Like, the fan can see it, but do they understand it? And we kind of have to do both.
Fabian, we got to go. I got one more question for you, and we're done. Let everybody know they can follow you on social media. But my final question is this. What the hell is going on with NHRA Pro Mod drag racing?
Well, I mean, the good thing is that the Fuel Tech came on board, and they're sponsoring picked up a sponsor for the class, and they're actually doing a shootout in Brainerd in August. I'm excited about that. But as far as how they can follow me on social media, I do have a Twitter. I'm still learning it. It's at FXV0412. It's my initials and my birthday and that sort of thing. But yeah. I finally have a Twitter. But I definitely think promo. It's starting to come out in the right direction. You have like Ricky Smith, you have Stevie Fast Jackson, you have these personalities that that are really driving force behind it. And definitely, I think Pro Mod is going to make a comeback. And I love that they're having the big shootout in Brainerd, Minnesota in August, and then of course they have the U.S. Nationals in September. But I think Pro Mod is and NHRA is backing Pro Mod. They're definitely backing Pro Mod, and Pro Mod is there to stay.
I've always said, Fabian, and don't get me wrong, those Top Fuel alcohol monsters, the funny cars and Top Fuel are awesome. But those Pro Mods, those are the bravest of the brave that get in them Pro Mod cars too, for sure. I think of Todd Tutterow. I think of Jason Line. I think of all guys like that. Man, they're some fun guys to watch for sure. Fabian, it's been fun. We've enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Always great talking to you, man. We'll get you back on Finish Line again sometime.
Thank you for having me on the show, guys. Have a good one.
Not a problem, buddy, for sure, definitely. And definitely, man, carrying on the legacy of his dreams, his passions, and, of course, in memory of his father, because his father passed away sometime last year, and I know that's exactly what his dad would want him to do. Charles, we've reached the end of the finish line.
We went on ran past the finish line, Wesley.
Well, we went into overtime a little bit. So, hey, listen, I got to ask you a couple of questions, man, and then we'll get off here. I wanted to talk about this before Fabian popped on. The Crown Jewel Late Model Stock E-Series, man. How cool are you excited for this one to crank up tonight?
Not excited at all. I mean, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually working on overlays while we're doing this podcast.
You're multitasking. I get it. Are you going to let me see your hair?
No. I don't know where my camera is. It's in a box somewhere in a closet, I think. I've been cleaning and it got cleaned.
It's all good. In all seriousness, my laptop should be back at your house tomorrow, so you can start repairing it. But in the retrospect of the Crown Jewel Late Model Stock E-Series, it cranks up tonight. I'll be joined along the way with also Samuel Dyer, Justin Prince, and John Mustian Jr. of 4 announcers. So for iRacing Broadcasting, we'll go along from event to event. It's going to be about 8 weeks long during the summer. It kicks off tonight at New Smyrna, triple 35s. And then there's kind of, let's just, Charles, be honest here, they kind of mimic the real format of big races. Well, obviously New Smyrna, when they run New Smyrna, they run speed weeks, and that's like 11 races and 11 nights, and we can't do that, obviously. So basically the decision was made to run triple 35s with automatic predetermined inverts for the races. That's tonight. Then we go to the Easter Bunny 150. I know Easter was a couple of weeks ago, but it's at Hickory. And then we go to South Boston for the Thunder Road Fall 200. It kind of Hampton Heat 200. Throwback 276 at Hickory. Myrtle Beach 400. Valley Star 300 at Martinsville in the final race, the Thanksgiving Classic at Southern National. Real short tracks across America, Charles, on the iRacing simulator, and this Crown Jewel Late Model Stock E-Series kind of mimics, if you will, the events. I think it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'll be looking forward to it a little more once I actually have everything done ready for it. So I still got a lot to do fixing the next. I got to go pick my grandmother up, celebrate Mother's Day, as I was obviously sick over Mother's Day. Get everything ready for tonight. Yeah. I got a lot of work to do before that event gets here.
Well, let's get off the air, my friend, shall we? Let's cue up those music, and we'll get off here for this program. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us here today on the May 11th Finish Line Motorsports Show. All of our guests, everybody. We'll get Dave Hess on another time. By the way, congratulations to him winning at Erie Speedway over the weekend. His work, And I've said this before several times, Charles, these guys have 9-to-5 jobs or more, and sometimes it's hard to push them out of their schedule away from their day-to-day. But with that being said, I do want to say thank you to Dylan Fetcho for joining us, Ronnie Riggs, Batman, First Late Model Racing, Caraway Speedway, David Lighton Saunders Memorial this weekend, Caleb Johnson on Finish Line. He'll be in action in that Rick Ware Racing E33 Motorsports #1 at Dillon Motor Speedway. Watch it on Racing America. I'll be on the broadcast call for that on Saturday or Sunday afternoon. Cole Butcher from Canada, of course, Fabian Brown from NHRA, IHRA, big drag racing events, talking NASCAR, and so much more. On the road to life, there's always a finish line. Life can be curvy, winding roads. It can be straight. You decide the path you take. Always follow your dreams. Good will overcome over evil. And always, again, never forget where you come from. And we love you all. In the motorsports industry, be good to one another. For Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten, and everybody behind the scenes of Fox Sports Radio, iHeartRadio, the Community Radio Network, and of course for Live Sim Racing Productions on video, I'm Wesley Outland for Charles Wooten. Thank you for joining us. May 11th, Finish Line in the books. Stick around. I'm trying to think of something else to say to bring this song to the end. It's been a great show. Indianapolis is coming. Charlotte's coming. Monaco's coming. Go join and support short track racing across America. And thanks to the biggest sponsor out there, you, the race fans. I love you. Be good. Lights out. Take care.
Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outland, and for the second year in a row, the Community Radio Network is excited to also be the voice of iRacing on LSRTV every Monday and Thursday night with the Northwest Racing Series for Cup and Truck. Join yours truly, Justin Prince and Samuel Dyer, every week as they race towards a championship. We're also on the radio in the Triangle, in the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area at 87.5 WCRN and anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. Click play. Check out the coverage, the power of radio to the imagination of the listener, esports style. We are the Community Radio Network, the voice of iRacing on LSRTV. Check it out when you can, and replays are always up too.
Let me tell you about MPM. McAllister Precision Marketing. They can assist up-and-coming racers with career advancement, promotion, and assist in sponsorship procurement. MPM also has media and professional etiquette training. They work with premier driver development teams and limited late models to late models. And they also help the teams to make it up to the levels of K&N, ARCA, Truck Series, and even NASCAR Xfinity. Contact Tanya McAllister today at McAllister Precision Marketing, 803-361-6199. Today, get on the board with MPM.
CrateInsider.com is your one source for crate racing tech and more. Whether you currently race with a crate engine or you are thinking about getting into the sport, our website has what you need. CrateInsider.com has tech videos, interviews with experts, and the best products in the industry. Dyno tested and proven, so we know they are the best products for crate engines. Visit CrateInsider.com today to get on the fast track to victory lane.
This episode is an exclusive production solely for the private, non-commercial use of our listening audience. Any publication, reproduction, transmission of the accounts without the express written consent or permission is restricted and prohibited. To hear this replay or other previous podcasts, download on iHeartRadio, iTunes Radio, and TuneIn. As always, this show is for you. Thank you for listening.